Will,
Hey!
what happened last time on Ebon Ward?
Last time on Ebon Ward, the 11th hour relaxed at the Hersif estate by playing pool, cooking, and casual conversation. Rosa, Nash, and Maze bonded over just having a nice time. Dia learned a fair amount about the arcane with Amaranth, and Redpath was a wingman for Artigan to hook up with Tabitha. In the morning, they left for the Lurie estate with Amaranth to question Armella. That's a lot of A's, my god, what have I done? Immediately, it became clear that she had been under the influence of a spell that prevented her from speaking the truth before. With that out of the way, she was incredibly cooperative and explained that a cloaked individual met with her saying they could get more spiders for her. With no other options, she accepted, but was requested to continue talking about politics openly and occasionally riling up the crowd at specific times. And in more recent times, she was requested to go to what seemed like random locations and wait there for up to 15 minutes. These were usually premeditated, but recently, they've been extremely sudden requests. The party then began to deduce certain aspects about Emmett that didn't quite make sense. Redpath noted that his scar made zero sense, especially because he was clearly not an undead. With that detail spotted, they concluded it was incredibly likely that Emmett was actually Lucine Delta. Considering how many keepers were being organized, it was also possible she was maybe a judge in hiding. Unsure of how to approach this situation, the 11th hour agreed it was time to reach out to Lawmaster Rivaldi and confront him about his connection to Emmett. When he arrived, they filled him in on all of the details, yet he was still hesitant to fall in line. Yeah, sometimes this happens.
Yeah.
However, after Maze clarified they all had the means to fight a vampire, he dropped the bombshell he knew he was actually Cornelius Callisto. This revelation forced Rivaldi's hand to remain peaceful as the 11th hour had more dirt on him than Emmett. While the air is still tense, it was now time to discuss what the next move would be against Lucine Delta. So, let me switch the music to back to this, and boop. And then I'll ping. Yeah. So, the last thing that Rivaldi had said to you was, "So, what happens next, 11th hour?"
Well, personally, I think now would be a great time for us all to get on the same page. How'd you wind up in this position?
A cloaked individual had initially approached me, saying that I would need to meet with someone. They had dirt on me, as it were. So, I left for this meeting point, not wanting to be blackmailed, and I thought there might be an opportunity to take care of them myself, if necessary. I met with Emmett at the location, and he made it very clear that he was aware that...
He looks over at Amaranth.
that yes, I am indeed a vampire. How he came across this information, I am uncertain. But he made it clear he was not interested in making this public information. He understood that if it did go public, Leviara would be a disaster. And so, he wished instead for my cooperation. Allow the Keepers to remain a bit longer and to prove their worth. I was willing to accept this, especially considering he was also aware of Blackthorn Manor, considering they had Keepers approach there and idiotically and miraculously came back with a means to return if they were so interested. Thankfully, none of them were. But with this knowledge that people could actually reach the manor, I couldn't deny the possibility of a lot of holy firepower present, just in case. And so, that is what I've been doing.
All right. We all have some loose threads that sort of need tying up in this whole story. So, ideally, some cooperation in filling that in would also be nice.
I will answer what I can. I've
Is
no
there anything we
interest-
can do to make you comfortable for the moment?
A drink would be nice.
What kind of drink?
If you're not going to play along, I'll move on from there. Listen,
No, I mean... No, I have options.
I'm fine. Just...
I'll go get some wine.
Sure. I would wager, based on the fact that you were able to link it back to me in any capacity.
He turns over to Dia.
I would wager Emmett had failed in modifying your memory.
Yes. Stroke of luck for me there. He approached me on the street right after I, guilty as charged, did hang out in your chimney for a little bit and heard a little bit of what you guys were talking about several days ago. I don't know whether it was you or Emmett who sussed out that it was me and knew where I was going. I thought I was pretty careful to cover my tracks. But he showed up outside the tiny bucket.
He nods.
There was a collaboration. I had one of my life lived spot you, and so I warned him that a bat had used Dimension Door. He immediately used his sending stone to contact all of his keepers, saying he wanted to speak with Dia and to inform him when she was spotted. Well, as you were walking out of the cave, you were ID'd by a keeper, and not even a moment later, he Dimension Doored away. His cloaked companion left shortly after as well. And he had assured me that when he had bumped into you, he had maintained a long conversation with you, long enough to manipulate your memory, or so he thought he had been successful in, but apparently not.
I'm glad that he thought he was successful. It wasn't clear to me whether or not I got away with my little bluff there.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, the reason why it worked and he didn't know is because you rolled a natural 20 and you actively said that you were playing it up. So Emmett thought it worked and he just walked away. And he wasn't going to try and read your mind because he's like, well, it's just going to be blank. I got away with this. I'm not going to test my luck. I'm just going to keep moving.
Why the hell would I bother?
My bases are covered. Fuck it.
I mean, to him, it worked.
Yeah.
It looked like it was a slam dunk perfect. And like I said, he didn't want to draw more attention to himself.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that is an agreeable reason why. That is all. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Because I know that it was one of those things I'm like, I wish I could explain this, but I can't yet. So,
yeah. No, she stops and thinks, I can see the downsides of having a reputation now as well. If the simple fact of a bat disappearing out from your chimney like that, if Emmett immediately knew to put out an all points bulletin for me, that is unfortunate. But, well,
you are the only wizard that we are aware of that would have any interest in dabbling in our affairs.
That makes... I mean...
It's a sensible jump.
I'm trying to think of a counterexample. What if Doopsy was feeling a little snoopsy?
Alright, so we're ignoring her. Here you go.
Thank you. And
Anybody else want some?
Yeah, sure, I'll take some. Why
Yeah, I'll
not?
take a glass.
I wouldn't mind one if you don't mind.
Sure thing. Nash, do you want juice or something?
He just nods.
On the...
Pours a seemingly smaller one for Dia.
Fair.
Pats her on the shoulder.
Well, while we're on the note of women that we're ignoring, leans over to look at
Dia just quietly mouths, "Wow."
In your head,
What the fuck, girlfriend?
looks over at Armel. So, what's her part in all of this? We weren't quite able to figure it out. I assume she's just a patsy for one of your co-conspirators.
He nods.
I must admit, I wasn't fully aware of Armella's involvement. Emmett made it clear that he had alliances with multiple people, but never deemed it important to let us know. Essentially, if one got captured, the rest could get away.
And so I assume you don't know the identity of the true cloaked figure?
Shakes his head.
Unfortunately not. I have suspicions, but nothing to...
Oh, share them,
Nothing-
please.
Yeah, we have suspicions too. Let's
We're very
exchange
good
notes.
at we're good at jumping to conclusions, and usually that starts with stupid suspicions.
My assumption is that it is Oleander.
Amaranth notably leans forward, interested.
That would make sense. That was on our corkboard too.
My reasoning is that Oleander has had a lot of interest in everything that transpires here. He reached out to me more than once about the possibility of working together to maintain the Keeper's presence. His own interest being that the Hersifs might follow suit and become the main form of security for Leviara instead of the Blue Jays. I had no reason to deny this request. It was more funding for our city. And, well, he shrugs. The Fire Giants are incredibly efficient, not to mention being able to have the Hersifs directly work with Leviara on a more government contract rather than third party. I find a lot of benefits from that. And again, more power against a possible Blackthorn.
Was it apparent why he thought the Keeper's presence would benefit the Hersifs?
He shrugs.
If I had to guess, money. If the Coalition were to remain here in Leviara, it would mean the Keepers would probably loosen up how many Keepers are present once they have full control again of the general security, and leave it to the Hersifs. Hersifs would be paid for their services, and likely get a pretty impressive tax write-off.
That makes sense. I don't understand why that old goat wouldn't just go to Deletta and say, I'd like the Hersifs to take a bigger role in security for the town. She's got deep pockets herself, doesn't she?
Amaranth leans forward because I declined it. While I must admit I have had interest in the Hersif family becoming more involved with security measures, I don't feel comfortable with our family, especially suddenly gaining an immense amount of control over that security. I'd love to help, and I'd love to provide numbers where necessary, but until my father is gone, I don't like us having more power. We are already an incredibly influential family. And Lawmaster looks over.
Right. And that's what I have appreciated about your somewhat neutral stance in all of this, Amaranth.
I obviously have my own goals, but when it comes to something like this, no, I'm not interested.
So Emmett's never shared with you any of the activities that he was undertaking to try and bolster the Keeper's standing, it sounds like?
Shakes his head.
No, his role, but now I'm starting to really question things, his role was essentially to be present and make sure the Keepers look good, leaving it at that. These terrorist attacks, I had started to have suspicions of his involvement, but he had assured me time and time again he was not doing them, and he would make contact with his third party, this cloaked individual. But that's where I start to get confused.
He kind of sets his wine down.
Oleander is a snake.
I mean that with full offense, Amaranth, and she just puts a hand up like, I don't give a shit.
He is not a murderer, though.
He's not a murderer, and I don't imagine he's quite spry enough to do all of that.
That is the other thing. When you had mentioned this invisible gymnast,
Amaranth cocks an eyebrow, because this is the first time she's heard that description.
it didn't make sense. Not to mention, with one of the more recent endeavors at the docks, fire giants were also impacted, and it did make the Hersiffs look a little sloppy.
Yeah.
If he was leading that, why would he make such a grave error? Unless it was an attempt to cover his own tracks.
Well, for what it's worth, we took a handprint of the person who was in the cloak during that incident, and it looks like... Yes?
That gives me a good idea. Do we have access to Hunch's body?
Conrad turns over.
It can be accessed, yes. Why?
I do have a method, assuming it wasn't Armella who absent-mindedly did it at the time. I do have a possible way of finding out at least part of the identity of who did that to him. It might not
Interesting.
work. The person might have a willpower stronger than I can manage, but it would at least give us a hint.
Amaranth kind of turns over. Are you implying speak with dead?
I can do that. I prefer not to. It kind of goes against what little morals I have. No, I'm referring to a different spell. Red Hand of the Killer.
Oh, ho, ho, ho. Ooh, Amaranth smiles. Ah, that has been used a few times in various investigations. Interesting. Yes,
Will that, if assuming it was in fact Emmett, will that turn Emmett's hand red wherever they may be?
Whoever it was. If they have no hand to turn red, it will be some other visible part of their body. They can hide it through mundane means, of course, but if we find somebody who's being quite shifty about their hands, we can pretty easily conclude that might be them.
Wow.
I think that could clarify a few things. My concern is that might tip them off that someone is researching that angle, and it would also imply that we could exonerate Armella, assuming, if it wasn't her.
Alternatively, it could be a thing of, hey look, this guy died, we don't know who did it. Alright, I can find out who did it. That seems like a pretty basic investigative angle. I don't think that, well, they probably would be pretty paranoid, but I personally wouldn't think that put those dots together, so...
I wouldn't be so confident about that. It sounds like Emmett's trying to keep a pretty firm grasp on these things, and Maze looks over to Conrad, and I assume as the lawmaster you wouldn't sign off on that if you were trying to cover your co-conspirators' backs.
Correct.
Yeah, that's my biggest concern, is simply letting Emmett know how much we already know.
I see.
They know we've gotten a chance to talk to Armella, but they don't know what we've learned, if anything. And I can see an angle where we might want to be able to come back and slow play this and not accuse them until we're ready, which will be a lot harder if they know that we know.
Amaranth kind of turns your direction. That is an excellent suggestion, though, Red Path. I think it is correct that we wait on this, because if we were to open with that, yes, we could confirm who the killer is for Hunch, but the killer would also be aware that we are onto them, as they would be able to see the marking on their hand.
So if we do have to use it, it'll be a last-minute gotcha. That's fine.
Yeah, it's a good thing to keep in mind, though.
Yeah, that is very important, because frustratingly, in spite of everything we've learned, I wouldn't say we have any physical evidence still to implicate Emmett in the actual murders. It seems like the cloak, or a cloak anyway, they strategically planted at Armella's, or rather had given to her already to use as a decoy explicitly. So it seems like that was a deliberate red herring. And I can't, with Armella's memory being kind of messed up, and obviously all the victims are dead, and no one even knew who killed them in the first place. So even speak with dead probably wouldn't avail us of anything. Without something like that red hand spell, at the moment it looks like it's just our word against Emmett's. Although the fact that our includes the Lawmaster and Amaranth would certainly help.
Yeah, Amaranth, she's kind of fiddling, or just kind of like spiraling the wine glass a couple times. It's annoying to say, but Emmett has done a pretty impressive job covering their tracks. Even though we are on to him, we just can't pin him immediately. Because, considering the situation in the city,
The Keepers are well loved at this point in time. Something I didn't anticipate. I mean, yes, it was indeed part of the goal here, initially.
I
But to this
mean, I
level-
wouldn't have bet on them succeeding, though.
No.
So I'm assuming that this is related to whatever thing you were apprehensive about, Rivaldi?
Yes.
Do you know more about Astrophel Blackthorn than you were willing to let slip at our previous meeting?
he looks over at Amaranth.
How much am I able to say? And yet you will maintain your word that I may remain present in this city for a time. I will vacate the premises when it is right, so you won't have to deal with the Rivaldis any longer.
Amaranth thinks. It will depend on how honest you are with me.
Fair enough.
He puts his hands on the table.
400 years ago,
She's like, oh my god. Like, does not hold him back.
Yeah, you're getting like the story.
If you want to bake an apple pie, you must first create the universe.
Oh, he knows the recipe. All right, we're good.
Yeah, Amaranth was like, oh, he's a vampire, so he's been around for a while. 400 years, like, oh, Jesus.
Jesus Christ!
My wife and I were human when the Veritas Legion started rolling in. Luckily, we were pretty good at sweet-talking people. And the Veritas Legion understood that if they wanted to really get a foothold, they did need some humans on their side. So, we started playing both sides. A part of that process was informing at the time the Ebon Ward all that we knew about the Veritas Legion. This eventually resulted in something that my wife and I did not anticipate. The capture of Meredith Redwood.
Amaranth sitting here like, that's a lot of names. What the fuck is going on?
Average Ebon Ward.
Everyone
viewer
else at the
experience.
table.
You're like, yeah, we heard this part, old man. Keep
Yeah,
going.
we know about the. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, the time.
we've all
knife.
heard of Meredith.
Yeah,
Redwood.
the
Keep
time
going.
knife.
The time knife.
With Meredith's capture and being uncertain of her situation, we realized it would only be a matter of time before Blackthorn realized that it was us that had released the information. So, we burned our home, made sure that there were bodies that could be found, that could be mistaken as us, and we disappeared into the night. And we started a new life. But then, Blackthorn never came. Des was lost after... I don't know what happened to Parthena. But Blackthorn had something to do with that, to my understanding. And Des went on a hunt, I suppose, for not just Blackthorn, but for Meredith. You see, at this point, the Veritas Legion was crumbling. So, you're welcome for that. And I believe Des was, well, desperate to track down Blackthorn and Meredith in the hopes that maybe it could create a resurgence for the Veritas Legion. And as history has shown us, and thankfully so, unsuccessful. And so, my fear has been, what if Blackthorn is alive? What if he is still in the manor? And what if he is woken up? Do you think he would casually accept the fate of 400 years? Wife obviously dead at this point, children misplaced. And if I and my wife were still alive, no. There would be hell.
For what it's worth, we got to take a look at some of that intimate history, and it seems like Blackthorn turned down the opportunity to take revenge at the moment when his wife was nearly murdered.
Yes, that was when she was burned. I'd heard about that. I mean, mostly when everything really went to shit for the Veritas Legion. I'm talking about when Parthena Veritas' manor became a bloody war zone when the Redwoods were escaping. That was the last I'd heard about them. And to my understanding, they had been captured by the Ebon Ward in Errol. That was when I stopped poking my nose and realized it was time to leave.
Reasonable.
Yes.
You mentioned Blackthorn's and Redwood's children? What do you know of them?
I know. They are twin girls, Marjorie and Maria. At the time, they were kind, gentle. But even I could tell. Marjorie was a nervous wreck. She had harmed her mother unintentionally, using some magic I, admittedly to this day, am not fully familiar with. And Maria was very upset by this. Two butted heads for quite some time. What happened of that, I felt it was best not to poke my nose too much in, as Blackthorn was obscenely protective of Meredith after whatever that incident was. So I felt it best to leave it at that. The twin girls, they were inseparable, as expected. And they showed some interest with the Veritas Legion and its activities, but Meredith, and notably Astrafel, took great measures to ensure the two did not get too bogged down with details. And when asked to assist, Blackthorn was very much against it. As was Meredith. She didn't mind them assisting with the lab and studies, but she wanted them to be children, first and foremost, as far away from this conflict as possible.
Well, I guess she got her wish. They're kind of still children now.
Cocks an eyebrow at that.
What do you mean?
I suppose now is as good a time as any to bring up that we are very familiar with this particular situation.
I think, out of character, I think we actually showed most of our hand in that regard way back when we were just asking to have the compass, and many of these same people
Yeah.
were sitting around the table. I think we were fairly open about a lot of what we knew because we were trying to just convince them that Blackthorn was an active threat we had to go check on.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
but-
if I remember, it was definitely talking. Yeah, I think you did actually bring up the family. So he nods.
Yes, so imagine my surprise when it's mentioned they are alive. Thankfully, I don't think they know I was involved or my wife, but if you people know, I'm not going to hold my breath.
Well, now is also as good a time as any to mention. It's frankly absurd that we were able to get that information.
No shit.
Very blunt. Amaranth is sitting here like just sipping her wine, going, "Wow, this is fucking batshit."
Yeah.
Welcome to our life, Amaranth.
Incidentally,
Repath looks over. I would give you more, but I feel you need to be cognizant for this.
I
She nods.
do want to rub out one quick thing. on
Rub
the list.
out?
Yes.
All right.
There's sort of the root cause where we were able to learn so much about you in particular was having found that portrait in the literal abyss. Do you have any idea how that got there?
Amaranth, like, you see that she's petting Humphrey, who's shaking very nervously.
Oh, buddy!
And she's like,
Vampires!
"I'm sorry. First, we're talking about the Veritas Legion. You were a part of."
To be fair, I assisted in their destruction.
Yeah, okay, fine, whatever. Bravo. Little clap for you for that.
No, like big clap. Like he outed a lot of people.
Even still, fine. Good job, Conrad. Or I'm sorry, not doesn't matter. Now we're talking about the Abyss?
It's related. We didn't just kind of absentmindedly stumble into one, unrelated to the other. It's a bit of a spider web.
Yes. As for the abyss,
Shakes his head.
first, how? Second, I don't recall. Vivian and I were confident.
Vivian! Oh, she's not even Victoria!
Vivian and I were extremely confident that we had procured every piece of documentation and, well, piece of art that might include our appearance. Somehow, the Abyss got it first?
It would be a good assumption that the Abyss somehow obtained that before you did your purge.
We know a guy. He likes to collect curios.
It's a minor point, all things considered. I was just wondering if you would somehow have the answer to that one.
No.
He vacationed there, perhaps.
No. Surprisingly.
Yeah, back to the points at hand then.
Oh, I'll say because of this angle, Maze, you notice something interesting. Rivaldi has a reflection.
Ah,
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that.
Yeah, actually,
so-
now that Mace has observed that, actually, no, distracting from the point again.
No,
Marvelous.
this is partially related. How is it that you've been able to, I guess, walk amongst the living, especially here in sunny, beautiful Leviara?
So, first and foremost, I would assume the reflection, yes?
Yeah, considering how I don't have one and you do, that's a bit confusing.
I bought this a while ago.
And he takes off the ring. And you notice his appearance doesn't change, but there is a flicker, and then his reflection disappears.
A minor illusion that matches my every movement and whatever I'm wearing.
Simple as that.
Clever enough.
Yes.
I
So,
suppose. Well, what about the sunlight then?
the sunlight, that took a while. We...
Been microdosing on sunlight.
Hang on. Let him keep talking.
One of the things that Meredith had been working on was vegetation that vampires could consume and become more human-like. It wouldn't remove your vampiric capabilities in any capacity, but it would maybe not fully remove, but limit the hazards you might face as a vampire.
No, blood
And-
harvest.
Why do you know that?
I read a paper.
Not technically wrong.
This is not what he would say, but I really want him to go, cool lie.
May's side eyes Dia. Yeah, I guess she feels like being cagey about it. Yes, we read a paper.
We did read. I have takes that the original documentation, signed, sealed, and delivered. Thank you very much.
Where
Why do you have that? That was supposed to be in my bag.
Was it?
Yes.
I think took it for girls' night.
Oh my! Give that back. Hand that over.
All right.
That's clearly mine.
Ugh.
Anyway, we
I love
know
the
of
idea
it.
of Conrad looking over the table at us squabbling like teenagers over the original
his
documentation from 400 years ago.
And just going, no, give it back.
We know of it. I wasn't. You've lived here for so long, I'm assuming under various assumed identities. I guess what I didn't know was that you would have had access to it during that time.
He kind of smirks.
There are a couple of locations where it was being tested that I was optimistic could still be beneficial. Most of them had died out by the time we had gotten back there, but there is still one place that's still very much alive.
And he gestures kind of vaguely to the kind of, that would be northeast, eastward.
The Wandering Woods.
Oh.
That explains
There are-
the tea, yes?
The tea plays a part. It was very experimental in the Wandering Woods because there is so much fey magic, which is associated with druidic magic. Everything grows far more rapidly there. So it was a prime testing location for Meredith Redwood. Not to mention it was close to her home. And because of Blackthorn's affiliation with the Weaver, who was willing to watch over it, yet again, making it a perfect location to test. And the Fey Wilds, or more specifically the Wandering Woods, can be violent, especially that one, considering it is so close to Blackthorn Manor, that there is plenty of violence resulting in blood being spilled by trees and other vegetation. So while we aren't enjoying various fruits and vegetables, tea leaves are still quite accessible.
Would you like to?
Kind of cocks an eyebrow.
Holds out an apple.
He takes it and takes a bite.
Remarkable.
Looks at you.
Where did you acquire this, then?
My hometown.
His eyes kind of widen.
Sweetstone is still operational, then?
Yes. Those affiliated with the Redwoods' daughters managed to get it back up and running in not so humane ways, but we put a stop to it and well, this is quite literally the fruits of their labor.
I see. Well, I'd hate for it to go to waste.
And he takes another big bite out of the apple.
What's that taste like?
An apple?
Yeah, I've never had one.
He was never arrested.
Amaranth is just sitting here like tapping her foot because she can't see expressions or what's being handed off. So the whole time she's like, okay, I'm going to be
This
quiet
has got to be
because
the last one, right?
this has to be the last bombshell. It's a fucking air raid at this point.
We get around. I'm sorry, babe.
Sorry, I hate to disappoint you, Amaranth. We've only been hanging out with you for like 15 episodes. This campaign's on like episode 130, so...
What? There's something before my time? Everything's just a void for me.
Impossible!
No, we can't get into the D&D conundrums.
Incidentally, if you think that apple's nice and interesting, Maze takes out a peanut. We didn't get this in Sweetstone.
What is significant about a peanut?
Nothing. I just wanted to hear you say peanut.
I think you'll find this peanut's also pretty nice. Fresh from the market, so passes over the Blood Harvest peanut.
Takes a bite.
From the market, you say?
Mm-hmm. We haven't gotten around to solving that mystery yet.
Amaranth. What mystery?
Is,
Something else?
is there a mystery beyond Leviara purchases food from Sweetstone?
Leviara purchases food from Sweetstone and also Hazel Hill, which is also growing the produce that is ripe for vampires.
Yeah, by solved, I don't mean we don't know what's happening. We just haven't stopped it.
Curious. Why ship it here?
Well, if Leviara is part of the coalition, I think it would be to the Redwoods, well, to Maria Redwood specifically, advantage to have as many coalition cities as possible unwittingly consuming blood
Hold on a
harvest.
moment.
Yeah?
Now, this is a bit of a silly question. Are you aware of any secret vampire cabals in the city?
He shakes his head.
No.
Okay, because the leaps and bounds my mind just did would be, stay with me here, something like getting the undead that are hiding in Leviara hooked on Blood Harvest, and then the idea that if they take Leviara out of the coalition, that would give them undead people who want to fight for the coalition. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I think I'm understanding.
That would make sense. I mean, given your expertise in the area and your position as lawmaster, I would assume you would be aware if there was anything like that going on, though.
Cups his chin and thinks.
I mean, maybe there are one or two more vampires present, but I find that unlikely, considering Leviara is one of the sunniest cities in the world.
There are a lot of caves, though.
It's one of the reasons Vivian and I moved in there.
So, here's a question. Aside from Oleander, do you have any other ideas about that caped figure? Because have we seen them? We've seen them technically out during the day, but for the most part, they've always worn that cloak.
He nods. Unfortunately, that's the only one that's come to mind. Mostly because there's clearly a lot of magic going on, which immediately kind of weeds out possible suspects. You know? I mean, obviously one could ridiculously point at Pride Lionheart, but he has no magic, so on top of the ludicrous accusation of course Pride wouldn't do it.
But there's also to consider somebody like Emmett. He just blatantly has done it in front of us, lied about having magic.
This is true. And I apologize for not stepping up earlier.
What? No, he had you by the nuts, whatever.
Yes. He looks down at the peanut. The nuts.
Well, now I
Perfectly
say,
set up joke.
now I say nuts to him.
Crushes peanut in hand. Do you think that's cool? Amaranth, what happened?
Incidentally, since we're talking about Oleander, you two seem to have a dynamic that seemed odd to us, even notwithstanding the potential conspiratorial stuff. Do you, know him personally?
He's a little hesitant.
It's more, while we don't engage with one another frequently, we've never seen eye to eye on many things. But considering our circumstances, I was the one with authority in this position.
And you recall, even way back when you were first setting up the heist for the Horde of House Hersif, Oleander would speak up and Conrad would shut him down
Yeah.
and borderline push a script in front of him.
Yes.
I see. So it was just him knowing his place then.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think we're up to speed. We might have blown right past and off a cliff in some cases, looks at Amaranth. What is our next move? It seems to me that the best thing that could happen would be if we got some kind of actual concrete physical evidence. Having that spell in our pocket is a very good thing, but it'd be really nice if we had something else, something that didn't put us at the whim of needing magic to work for us, which can sometimes open you up to unfortunate side swipes.
Well, I am...
So,
Oh, go on.
well, I'm just wondering, would our angle be to sort of, I guess, observe and find Emmett guilty of something? Emmett himself firsthand, or are we going after the angle that Emmett is Lucine?
I feel like we should explore that angle first, make sure we're not just going down a random conspiracy black hole.
It would be worth confirming that to be true. The thing is, having a double identity as a performer and a keeper, weird, maybe a little suspicious, but not illegal. Certainly, not a crime and not villainous in its nature.
Identity fraud?
I guess, but I can't imagine the keepers or the people of Leviara would feel terribly betrayed by Emmett to learn that Emmett was a pseudonym for Lucine Delta, because Lucine Delta's plenty popular in her own right. So...
Yeah, also, again, considering how the Lawmaster is meant to be playing along, I don't think that case will get us very far.
But it is still relevant because it means there might be angles to look into Lucine that don't exist for looking into quote-unquote Emmett. For instance, where was Lucine and what was she believed to be doing during all the times Emmett's been around doing crime things? Maybe Matthias or Marigold or someone involved at the theater could tell us?
That seems sensible.
I do. I would need to talk to Marigold. It would be ridiculous for me not to.
Mm-hmm.
Amaranth kind of turns over. Marigold is Lucine Delta's new protege, correct?
Correct.
Yes. Did she have an old protege?
Shakes her head. I mean, Lucine Delta has had many people work under her over the years. Marigold's just the most recent one. Thinking about it, I don't recall any previous proteges being anything more than fabulous stars afterwards. I don't recall any nefarious activities or anything of the sort, and turns over to Rivaldi.
No, I don't recall any either. So, but that does make me even more suspicious why, although I guess maybe to maintain appearances.
I got the feeling that Lucine Delta genuinely enjoys being a performer. You can be more than one thing. You can be a performer and a keeper and a prolific murderer.
Well, she's a performer all of the time.
Finger guns. I think also, maybe there's nothing to this, but Amaranth, do you think there might be anything to investigate from back when Lucine was involved with your brother?
She thinks about that and cups her chin. I mean, the two were dating, but I do know for a fact, I'm sorry I didn't bring this up before, a lot was happening.
Yeah.
Gladiolus, you may not be aware of this, he was actually an investigator. He worked pretty closely with, maybe not directly the portmaster, but with Pride occasionally, just doing private investigations, and these could vary from just the occasional is my partner being faithful, finding out if someone's cheating, all the way to are there drugs coming into the city and tracking that down. And I do recall he was getting close to discovering something.
Red
But-
Patch just blinks a couple times.
Does something? Do you know anything more specific than that?
No, unfortunately.
And you say he was getting close to before the fire.
This was I'm talking about this was a couple of years ago.
I see.
Well, I don't know if going down this random rabbit hole would be of any particular use. Do you have anything
Unless-
more than just he was close to something?
I'm trying to think
I mean,
how
Pride
much.
might know if they were
Just-
working
just-
together.
Just a quick moment.
Yeah.
This invisible gymnast or whoever working with Emmett, and Emmett in general, they seem pretty keen on destroying the reputation of Deletta specifically, who is, the replacement of whoever the previous portmaster was. Do we know? Assuming that was one of her parents. Isn't that something
I
she's
believe
mentioned?
so, right?
For what is
We
this? I'm
should-
sorry.
we should
I'm
know
like
this
looking at my
already,
notes.
Yeah,
right?
who was in charge before Deletta? Like her dad or something?
Yes. So Deletta is the newest Delato being in charge. The Delatos have basically had this landlocked for decades because they're elves, and people are like,
Yeah.
"Well, I mean, the current guy's doing good," not realizing that if you look deeper, the Delatos were actually doing some not so stellar stuff, and that's why Deletta is such a breath of fresh air for a lot of people that do know what's going on, because she's too kind to do bad things, and also she's like, this is the worst thing, but it is also true, she's a little dumb, so she's easy to push around if necessary. So she's like perfect to be portmaster right now after decades of actually competent, maybe not stellar people. I will say, can everyone give me a perception check?
Oh, fuck.
I'd love to. but
Oh my
love
god, we
to.
get to roll a dice?
Yeah,
Ah.
sorry.
Hey man, sometimes you just. Ooh.
Oh, Nash, get
Hey,
it.
Nash doesn't contribute to the conversation, so he's got his ears open.
Yeah.
Me too.
Oh shit, you too! Damn.
Okay.
18.
So this is how it pans out. Nash, you spot it first. And Maze, because of where Nash is looking, you also look and you catch it. The more that Gladiolus is being discussed, the more nervous Conrad gets.
Ah.
Ah. Well, I'm directly next to him.
I think Nash and Maze make eye contact.
It's like,
Across
oh
the
no,
table.
a new
Like,
thread
oh,
to
no.
explore.
Aw.
Maze glance over at Conrad. Is there something the matter?
He notably looks at Amaranth, who is like still kind of pondering. She's not fully paying attention. She's kind of mumbling various things that she did know about Gladiolus. If possible, I would like to be as honest with you as possible. And he's like leaning over to whisper to you, Maze, so that Amaranth doesn't hear. I'm willing to be honest with you, but Amaranth can't be present.
Understood.
Otherwise, this whole ship sinks.
Maze nods then.
Why'd you kill the hair sips, old man?
He's the man behind the slaughter!
Why is everyone in this town secretly... Well, okay, he's Conrad. He's not secretly evil.
He's
Yeah.
openly, secretly evil.
You can't point your finger at me. Why are you secretly evil when your theme song is...
Yeah, wait,
And you
how
got
many
the
years
barcode
ago?
on.
Just real quick, how many years ago did Gladiolus die?
Gladiolus died about 3 years ago.
Okay, so if they were investigating something and Conrad was the lawmaster at the time,
Yeah,
he
I
figured
probably
it
would've-
out, and
All
Connie
right.
was like, ah, da, da.
Yeah, Maze backs up. I think we've more or less covered everything here.
All right, so what's our game plan?
Well, for transparency's sake, I'd like to make this very clear to you, Conrad, that we are very much just interested in stopping random terrorist attacks from happening. That's our
Agreed.
angle here.
Thankfully, not a very controversial one.
Yeah.
I can agree with this sentiment.
We're not particularly interested in your power struggles or any personal politics. We just want bad things to stop. So that's what we're going to do, and I hope you can help us with that.
I will do what I can. But understand, depending on what moves you make, I may be limited so that they are not aware that we are aware.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes,
That
this
being oh, go ahead.
Amaranth, she just adds on, we need to be exceedingly tactical about this.
I think Dia lays a hand on the table. Just so we're all clear about our end game here, I don't think we can afford, even though it's tantalizing to go for the simplest and easiest solution, I don't think we can risk trying to corner Emmett privately and deal with them, because if anything goes wrong, that's pretty much game, set, and match. We're not going to get another shot, and we will look like the bad guys.
If
I
we can
think-
find a way to do it as publicly as possible,
Yeah.
that'd be grand.
I think the first strike has to be public, and I think we can't play this out like an assassination or anything. It has to be as straightforward, above board as possible. You are guilty of crimes, here is our evidence, and let the people decide. Even though, to some extent, that plays into Emmett's strengths as well, in working a crowd. If we have evidence, and we have you two, Amaranth and Conrad, pointing at, realizing Amaranth can't see her point, you know.
Right.
Yeah. I think we can make it work.
What if we just hauled his ass to court? There's the courtroom.
And
Well-
I am the judge of said courtroom, but then that might lead to more problems where he might go, "Why are you doing this?"
Well, ideally
Yeah,
at
no.
that point, we'll have
Assuming-
already cleaned up that possibility.
If we go at it publicly, that's the one downside, right? Going at it privately and just straight up being like, you, and trying to, I don't know, off him in an alley would neatly solve that problem, but create many more. So I think if we do it publicly, we need to be ready for the reality that as soon as Emmett perceives a threat, and in particular, if Emmett perceives that you have turned against him, he will definitely try and turn the tables by outing you. And so we need to have a counter to that ready. And I have at least one idea, but it may take a slight bit of preparation on my end.
What did you have in mind?
Well, we have encountered, oh man, so, I explained a little bit about the Revenant situation when at our previous meeting. The thing that makes some of the Redwoods Revenants so dangerous is that they've been experimentally outfitted with golem cores that absorb and adapt to energy. So they are revenants that are not susceptible to positive energy, which means there is essentially no way to kill them without removing the core first. Now, it occurs to me, we might not have to go as far as implantation, but with such a device, if we prime it ahead of time, we may be able to make you immune to being damaged by that sort of energy, which would theoretically, given that you've already covered all your other bases, she gestures at the reflection in the mirror, might be able to completely put the lie to Emmett's attempt to suggest that you're a vampire. In fact, it might entirely backfire on Emmett If they come out and say, yeah, but you're a vampire, and we say prove it and they can't, then they will just look insane.
Amaranth taps her cane a couple times. That's not a bad idea.
So, the bleeding heart, it reveals all. He would assumedly guess the same thing about your wife, then, yes?
That is a concern.
Do we have two, Dia?
Well, I've got rummages around. I've still got, produces a golem core, our old friend Alfred.
Oh no! What a throwback.
So
Who is Alfred?
This is a plot beat that doesn't concern
That,
any
you
of
know,
you.
that
so-
one, no, this one doesn't need to be explained. It will not facilitate your understanding of the situation.
Fair enough. Thank you for your honesty. Proceed.
But you know, I'll spare you as well, Amaranth. But I have one. Has anyone else happened to scavenge one as we've gone along?
I have one.
Then that would be enough.
Why have
You
you
and
guys
I
just been
should,
carrying those yourselves? Like, I've got this infinite bag.
I
But
don't know,
it's
sometimes I like trinkets.
Alright.
yeah, and you know, Alfred means a lot to me. I'm not gonna stick him in a bag of holding, even if he's currently effectively in hibernation and completely unaware and inability to perceive the outside world.
And also heavy.
And also heavy, yes, God. She sets it back in the bag. But that being said, yes, you and I, Redpath, we should work this out tonight. I got to read some of Sebastian's research. I think with the two of us together, we can probably get these cores in a state to work.
Alright, and I know enough undead physiology to not blow you two up.
Appreciated.
Yeah, it's my fault that people are still standing, so.
So I think we're preparing some kind of public forum then. Honestly, I think it would be best if we could completely blindside Emmett. The fact that Emmett knows she's here. Hopefully doesn't know what we have or haven't learned.
Actually, so
that's right.
you never told him
We refused
where
to tell
Armella
Emmett.
is.
Yeah.
And he agreed to it, but you could tell now more than ever, you're probably like, oh, he was probably fuming and was like, oh, that's totally fine. I'll kill all you
So
motherfuckers.
here's a neat idea. Here's a neat, silly little cheeky idea. If Emmett's whole thing is, being in two places at once and claiming that he can't, what if the way we do it is we just, set it up to invite both of them at the same time?
That would be a very cheeky way to prove that Emmett is Lucine Delta, but I don't know that gets us further on Emmett being a murderer.
Well.
Yeah, we'll just get him out of our hair, which is
being-
appreciated, but...
That being said, so Emmett doesn't... Yeah, so I'll correct what I said before. Emmett doesn't know where Armella is, but he knows she's alive. And he knows that we've interrogated her at least once by now, but not what we've learned, if anything. And based on his result with me, it seems apparent that doesn't always know for sure how effective his spells have been at modifying memory. So he probably doesn't know exactly how much Armella can tell. So, what if we have a little powwow with Emmett before long and tell him that we've had a couple rounds at Armella, and she hasn't been able to provide a satisfactory explanation for how she's not responsible for the murders. And so we're gonna need to make an announcement that that Armella Dulaine, head of a major noble family, is gonna be on trial for murder and smuggling and various other crimes. That's the kind of thing that I bet would invite a public announcement. One where we would plausibly want Emmett to be present. We haul everyone up there. Emmett's feeling pleased as punch, having completely gotten away with murder, literally, and framed someone else. And then we say, all right, and now before we get started, you're a murderer, and here's all the reasons why.
That would be a nice way to execute a gotcha.
Amaranth kind of cups her chin. I mean, that certainly makes sense. My only concern, and maybe it doesn't matter, I think it is still important. We are confident that Armella was not the perpetrator of these murders or even directly involved with the terrorist attacks. Yes, she did instigate and cause crowds to become upset, but she did not kill anyone. Let's be real. So I am concerned that if we make this public announcement and then go, haha, it was just a joke to get the real guy, we need to remember, I say this with as much kindness as I can, the general public's stupid.
Yes,
Thank
that's
you,
why
Conrad.
I imagine we wouldn't actually be announcing that that's what our announcement will be. We'll just, have Emmett be like, yeah, gather everybody up, buddy, smile.
We can tell Emmett that's what it's gonna be for, but the public shouldn't know.
Yeah.
I just want Emmett to be feeling as secure as possible before we drop the world on him.
We could then, if maybe this is more agreeable, we could just make the public announcement that the perpetrator has been captured and they will be going on trial X day.
Ah, now that's a lovely way to rules lawyer it. Yeah.
And then, Conrad, if you are all right with lying to Emmett saying that it is going to be for Armella specifically.
Yes, I can lie for you.
Great. Perfect. All right. I think we have a game plan.
And just until then, we can't give anything away about how much we really know. That's going to be the hardest part of this, given Emmett's capabilities and how the Keepers are most places most of the time, watching most of what goes on.
Which is why you will have me be the only one that interacts with Emmett until this trial.
He taps the side of his head.
He can't read me.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah. Oh, also, amusingly, I actually do have a decent out to be able to talk with Lucine when I feel like. So that does give us an avenue, at least for communication on that part.
Oh, and Pure did want to learn about, ASMR sort of things and healing in that regard. I could probably talk to her about it before I talk to Marigold and directly cause a problem.
Just be extremely careful, cause...
Would you like to come with me?
Oh, I more meant Maze. Anyone who's gonna talk to Lucine, I mean, whether or not Lucine is in disguise, she's got all the same capabilities, and if she has any reason to want more information, she has many ways to try and get it.
Mm-hmm. It would just be... It's just something worth noting. We have, grounds to be able to speak with her fairly casually if we decide that's what we want.
Yeah, drop by and see how the play is going. Makes sense.
Unfortunately, actually, no, that'd be a bad idea. Sorry, I'm just thinking to myself. I consider the possibility of providing some sort of mental shield for you, but if by chance she did try to look in your head, that only makes you far more suspicious.
Well,
She tries and can't.
Oh,
Yes.
so what if we just think stupid thoughts all day? Would that help?
That sounds stupid.
it worked
Yes,
before.
that's the point.
That's our usual MO, isn't it?
Well, it's worked splendidly for you, hasn't it?
You're not the first person to think that.
Amaranth raises a hand. I hate to say it. I don't mean to be rude.
Greatest thieves in Goliath? Greatest thieves in Goliath.
I mean, you did do it. I can't take that away from you. She just shrugs.
But I can't take your lives.
Imagine if at the 11th hour, fucking Amaranth is a bad guy. Like, Jesus
Necklace of
Christ.
fireballs in this contained space. Die.
Honestly, she could, and she wouldn't take a single point of damage.
Yeah? I won't
There
get
is
into the
precedent
semantics
for
of...
someone throwing a whole-ass necklace of fireballs at us.
True. But, strictly speaking, you have to fail a save to make them all go off, minor details. Anyway, though, yeah, I don't think there's any other business. And also, as a quick aside, I don't have immunity to mind-searching effects, but my undead gunk does help a little bit.
Conrad cocks an eyebrow.
Yes, I had wondered about that actually.
He gestures to the reflection.
Yeah.
Listen, sometimes people are just born different, and then they become other people's problems.
That had a
Pet
lot of
says, trying to make it about him, so Conrad stops asking.
that was a lot of venom, which makes me more curious.
Oh,
You must be a Dampier or something then. You've been wandering the sun just fine, unless you've been finding blood harvest as well.
Well, I have, but it does. For me, it's mostly just a tasty little treat. No, just a half-blood. No real benefits from it.
Interesting.
Admittedly, no real downsides either. Reflection notwithstanding.
Sure.
Interesting. Who's your mom?
Who's your mama? Yeah, he just like kind of
Looks at
looks.
him pointedly. Not you.
He kind of looks you up and down a couple times, and you like, Maze, you're a smart guy. You can read people pretty good. He is clearly thinking about the time where you left the art of it all, and Victoria was like wiping away tears.
Yeah, I bet you're thinking that. We'll keep thinking, bud.
Yeah, just move on. Move your boxes.
That's his revelation to obtain.
Yeah, you get the feeling Amaranth has been doing a very good job at covering her fucking mouth about what she knows.
Yeah, I suppose that's all. Oh, you did want to speak with us at your manor at some point, though. I think given...
Your lovely wife invited us over for dinner!
Mace raises a hand. I think, for the sake
Now
of
that
keeping...
the cat's out of the bag, she really is very lovely. I'm sure you're proud of her.
I think for the sake of keeping a low profile, we shouldn't all go and have dinner at his house.
She invited me and Nash, okay?
Yes, and besides, I don't need to meet with you all tonight. Just before you go to the Wandering Woods.
Yes, of
It's...
course.
We can have a victory celebration when Emmett is either in jail or a smoking hole in the ground.
Sure, but I mean, I would like to get it settled more sooner than later. Glances at Conrad like, I do want to talk about our outstanding point. It sounds like you guys wanted to go and branch off and talk to Pure and such. Might be
Talk to Pure, then I have to speak with my father.
yeah, a whole thing.
Ooh, that feels weird.
Maybe now would be a decent time for it. It can just be you and me, Conrad.
Splendid. Where are we going?
I don't know. Somewhere private, somewhere nice.
Just snorts out his nose.
Lead the way.
Amaranth leans forward. I think my course of action will be to keep an eye on Oleander. She puts a hand up. I'm not making a move. Do not fret. That has been made abundantly clear.
Listen, he's old. Just push him down the stairs. It'll be fine.
Yes. I have a different idea.
So that's illegal, and the Lawmaster's right there.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't rat on me, would you, vampire? No, I think my job will just be to keep an eye on Oleander. Keep track of his movements.
Yeah, I suppose if he... there is always the possibility he might give something away in the course of meeting with Emmett or doing something schemely.
Yes, part of me wants to tell Pride and Deletta, but I feel like...
More people knowing is more dangerous, quite frankly, at this point.
Yeah.
And I don't think either of them have the mental fortitude to withstand what Emmett might do.
Yeah, it's less about loose lips and more about more minds for Emmett to read.
Exactly. Shit. Okay. Well, unless there's anything else, I think I'm going to head home. And I will just be a little spy.
Don't you want to know the 80 other world-shattering secrets we know?
You have to be out of them by now. I have no interest in lies at this
There's
point.
probably not 80. There's probably more than 0. But nah, I think you got enough for one day, right?
Tell you what. Tell me one more, and I'll decide.
Do you know about the globe-spanning underground pie society?
I'm leaving. If you're just going to tell me idiotic lies, I'm just going to leave. she touches the door.
Dia, don't you give away my trade secrets.
Do you want Humphrey with one of you so that we can remain in somewhat contact?
That would be nice.
All
He's
right.
such a gentleman.
All right, Humphrey, my little sweet, and she gives him a little kiss. Why don't you stay with them for a bit? And he makes little squeaky noises and zips on over and just lands on Rivaldi's wine glass, and you see his little tongue like grab the wine.
No, come here. I will give you sugar water.
You pull him and
That kills!
don't worry, he's essentially made of fire. Goodbye, Humphrey. I love you. And she walks outside. And the moment she steps outside, you hear... She clearly used Dimension Door, and for her, it's fire.
Rad.
The moment she steps out, you hear, Jesus Christ!
Emmett, they're on to us!
Oh,
Pack
can
your
you fucking
shit,
imagine?
get out! Yeah, Masquerade too. You gotta both go.
Yeah. I know we're supposed to do book club next week. It's not gonna happen, okay?
Oh
Stop
my
trying
God.
to make it happen. It's not going to happen.
Call Yotis,
Holy
tell him it's off.
We're canceling
Get
my
Maria!
invisible
Get
gym
the bitch!
recital.
I don't care if Maria's still doing her makeup. Get her in here.
Yes, Blackthorn. He needs to go too.
Ain, I don't even care about telling that bitch. Fuck her.
No, don't tell Caden. He can stay.
Yeah. Don't tell Kate.
That's a
You can't give him
laundry
any
list.
reason to get on screen.
Oh my God.
Anyways, none of that happens.
None of that happened.
Conrad just like takes a step back and just kind of stares at the cow because it's now just realizing there's a cow.
Don't look at her too long.
Don't think about her too
Yeah,
long.
if you make eye contact for too long, she'll probably interpret it as a challenge, and we've seen how that ends.
Does Rivaldi have an intimidate check?
I
Gonna
mean, probably.
intimidate
God.
the cow?
You think you can cow her?
Shut up. E20 plus.
Shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up.
It's pretty good. But then her will save because she's a cow.
Right.
Is like I think
Natural
that.
20? Oh, it was so close!
She-
Pretty fucking close, dude.
They lock eyes and you see, like, for example, some of the books in the shelf start to wiggle, and then Conrad like does a little lurch forward and like Betsy like
She's the first to look away.
and goes
Aw.
inside.
Was that really necessary?
Don't do that, you'll stress her out.
If
It's a
she gets
cow.
out again, we'll have to wrangle her again.
It's a cow.
It's a living thing, Lawmaster.
Yes. Anyways. Is that spell still in effect, Redpath?
Should be running out any moment, so maybe we want to skedaddle somewhere else.
I don't want to waste too much time, and I will use what time we have left within.
He looks at you, Maze, and then slowly turns around.
The reason I couldn't tell while Amaranth was here is that I did kill Gladiolus. He was hot on my trail. He had all the evidence necessary to prove it, and I confronted him. I tried to find a middle ground, and things escalated. If the Hairsifts knew, we would not be able to do any of this cooperation.
Well, that really muddies things now, doesn't it?
And for people wondering about Humphrey, I think Humphrey, so the way Humphrey works is that like Amaranth has to be choosing to listen in.
Mm.
And also, Humphrey is so distracted with sugar water and having a coughing fit. So he's not, yeah, so don't worry.
This poor creature.
I want to make that abundantly clear. Very,
That
very
would
good
be a very
catch.
funny way for him to get caught, literally
Yeah.
just overlooking that.
Yeah, no worries, yeah. There are steps here that need to happen. Not to mention, Amaranth is way more focused on finding Oleander.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, well, yeah, there's not really anything to do about that until at least everything else is taken care of. Oh, man. Sits down on this stool.
And we're assuming that Lucine doesn't know that?
He pauses.
I would assume no.
You
As
better
long
hope so.
I better hope so.
Redpath, look down.
Oh,
Still
no,
just
no.
coughing. And every once in a while, he like does a little cough or sneeze, and like fire comes out.
Oh! Oh, that's no good. Okay.
Here, I will also give you control of
The boy.
Humphrey. Humphrey is now controlled by players.
Wow.
Nash, would you like to hold him?
Oh, don't want. Oh, so small.
It's okay. It's okay. We can put him up. Let's see.
I don't believe you could be as good at all the things you're good at if you didn't have delicate, dexterous little hands.
There we go. There we go.
You'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, no. So Humphrey, he just lands on your head, and he like sees some beads and he starts picking at them. Not to like be a problem, but it's more like a, ooh, what is this? He's just having a nice time.
Yeah, typical bird moment. I understand. He's very well.
Yes, you would be very familiar with this.
No, yeah. I know exactly what Humphrey's doing.
Right. Well, partner, let's get going.
Well, partner.
Walks
Tell you
out
what,
like
we
a
said
cowboy.
hi.
He just leaves. Okay.
Wow.
So, now that we've got all that shit out of the way,
Now what?
who is going where and doing what first? Because I
Well,
just
we just spent a long time talking to Conrad, so let's not do that.
fair enough. So, what I'll do then is let's move you guys to the Leviara map.
Well, we got a couple angles. We've got talking to Marigold as a potential, or to Matthias, talking to someone at the theater to find out more about what Lucine's been up to in the time frames we're interested about. We've got Dia and/or Redpath retrofitting the golem cores, which might not be on screen. I don't know if there's anything interesting to show there, but that is a thing that's presumably going to happen. We're not telling anyone else, so we don't need to report back to like Pride or Rosa or anyone. Yeah, I don't know. There's a whole lot else. I guess at some point you need to get access to Hunch's body so that we can do the red hand thing when we're ready.
Yeah, I think so. That I don't think we need to worry about doing a scene, because when you are going to be implementing that, like Rivaldi is going to be kind of leading the charge.
Yeah.
In some capacity, and at that point, like it's a given, it'll be done. And even if Conrad can't do it, Pride can probably do it.
Yeah.
There's a good chance Marigold and Pure will be together. If we don't go see Marigold at the theater specifically, which would seem to call for May's presence. So maybe we don't do that right now until we've resolved May's and Conrad. I don't know. I think.
Yeah, it's a tough situation.
Well.
Wait, so am I crazy? Is there an actual conversation that needs to happen between Mace and Conrad, or was that the... Oh, there is? Okay. I thought that was the house burning down.
So let's see here. I guess what we could do is maybe Maze and Conrad, because they're going to the theater. Am I understanding that correctly?
I mean, we're just going somewhere. I just wanna I wanted to talk to him, one about you know the woods related stuff, and two, I do sort of want to have a slightly more in-depth discussion about murder and how okay we should be with that.
Yeah. No, that's super fair. Okay. So where would be a nice place for you guys to have your discussion? I guess.
Lawmaster, take me to the tiny bucket.
I mean,
You
I'm
go to
sure
the tiny bucket. You go to the beach.
I'm sure there's no shortage of secluded cavey spots for us to talk.
You know,
I mean,
go ahead.
I was gonna say. I mean, we could always just have you be at Conrad's house.
Yeah, like that's also possible. I figure if we're doing that, then like Conrad just like fucks off and Maze like takes a roundabout path to get there, because we can't just walk to his house together. That is
Correct.
suspicious.
Yeah. So here. Okay. And then I'm just getting icons ready, and also for you guys to like load this map.
And then I think, in my opinion, we should talk to Marigold at like the art studio instead of the theater, because I don't think we want to be seen asking her a bunch of questions about Lucine's whereabouts while Lucine is potentially present.
Okay. Yeah. So, do we want to go do that then first, where you guys go try and track down Marigold?
Yeah. I
Yeah, you
think
should do
so.
that first. Again, we talked to Conrad for a while.
Yeah. Okay. So, where is Marigold going to be at this point?
I'm gonna go run and pee real quick.
Have fun.
Yeah. So,
I won't.
Okay.
Okay. I think for the sake of ease and not to put you guys in an immediate bad situation, also thinking about the timing of the day, I would think that Marigold is at the Art of It All with Victoria. And Purity. However, Marigold, you guys would know this schedule at this point, mostly because Maze has probably been informed of this. There are rehearsals and practice like later on in the day, because they do have their big show that they need to get ready for. So who all is going there? That's going to be Dia.
I'll go. Nash, do you want to come? You've got a good rapport with Victoria. Rube?
Did you wanna also go over with
Yeah,
this
I'll
group?
go over with them, because where else is Nash gonna go?
True.
Nash on the big city, walking around.
Ash to hyena in the city.
Excuse me, sir, can you help me move this large box? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Nash gonna rent canoe.
Oh, you know.
Fuck so off.
You don't you fucking dare touch those.
God.
Oh, that's right. These two were still here. Ha ha.
Not you.
It's fine, I didn't even see 'em.
You folks are coming in, and
I'm gonna shoot this maze pog.
yeah,
He's dead.
yeah. I've a little bit of GM layer hell because I keep
That's
on
okay.
just GM layering people instead. Let's see here. Oh, you know what? Actually, I think this would be a thing. So, you come in and you see that this fancy little Klanai is not there, but there is someone else who is just standing there. They're not doing anything new to risque. They still have their full uniform on, but you see Pride doing a pose of like pointing victoriously, and he looks miserable.
Oh, your poor arm.
But
Oh
the
my
same level of
guy.
misery from Pride is the level of joy from Purity.
Aw.
Don't worry, I'm making you look jacked. That's not the concern.
Ooh, paint me a picture of a big, strong man in military dress. Mwah.
Yeah, I get it.
Oh my god. Pride just deflates and Victoria spins around. Oh, if you want, we can set up some more easels for you guys. I mean, we're not that far.
We've been doing this for a while. My arm hurts.
It'll be fine. I'll get you sugar. What can I do for you guys?
Gosh, what? I forgot. I honestly forgot what we came here to do because this just distracted me.
We're not here just for business or whatever, but if Marigold finishes early or has a free moment or just wants to talk while the painting happens, then I'd like to talk to Marigold.
You see Marigold look over her shoulder, like do a triple take, and then point.
Am I in trouble?
Oh, emphatically not.
Oh, okay.
Hey, can I take a peek?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, hi, Red.
Hello.
Yes, I've been working very hard on this, and you see, it's hold on, let me roll for her.
Yeah, you need to roll a die.
Let's see here. I think her.
Nash.
Is she making a real picture, or is this just going to be a piss take at her brother's expense? Let's find out.
Is she make a caricature of Pride?
I think it was something like this. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
You come up and yeah, it's looking nice.
It's like mid-sketch still.
Yeah, it's still like a mid sketch, but she's definitely making sure that like the cape is flowing in the wind, and it looks like it might be him holding a saber on a boat.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if you heard about this, but apparently there was this big nasty pirate off the shore who was stirring up trouble, and my big brother played a big role in keeping it safe. Although it sounds like a bunch of ladies solved the problem for him.
Yes, I honestly didn't do nearly as much as them. Very nice gals. You should meet them sometime, Pierre. I think you'd like them.
Ooh, fancy.
Oh my
But,
god.
And Marigold. Oh yeah, Marigold. I think you
I hope
got-
she kills it.
Get it, girl,
I
please.
think it was something like this for her.
Okay.
A little bit of a journey.
Yeah.
A little bit of a
Is it
journey.
yours?
Oh, sure.
And she very delicately turns it to look at you, and she gets a little bit of a smile. It's like about the same level of what Purity's got going, and she just smiles.
Ah, yeah, same vision, same vision. You can tell your friends.
Mhm.
And the two look at each other and just smile and nod. Marigold just nods.
Yeah, best friends. So, what can I do for you, Red Path?
Oh, well, it's kind of like a me and Dia thing, and I guess Nash too. Oh, don't leave Humphrey over there.
I can't control him.
We can't. We don't have
The
control.
rebellious spirit.
Oh, this one has
His
no control.
rebellious spirit.
Sorry,
Oh,
all
no.
players, but he immediately goes to the candy. Like just
Nash,
licking
get him,
it.
please. No, we just
Come
wanted to have a
here.
little chit
He
chat.
picks up a piece of candy so that Humphrey can still get at it, but
Ah,
also come
clever.
with.
He's like flying with your hand, just like you keep on trying to like catch him, and he like keeps like diving out of the way, but continues to keep licking at it.
Yeah,
You
we
should
just
have-
wanted to have a little chit chat about stuff, see how you're feeling about the big show, all that kind of stuff.
Mind if I'm just gonna pull this up.
Sure.
Oh, sorry. Let's not. I don't. We've got a little bit of a surround going on. That's not really my intention. Also, I don't want to make you look away from the subject if you want to keep working during this. Let's be on this side, Red Path.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'll just lean on this corner if I have to.
Oh, like a cool guy.
Yeah, I'll pivot.
Nice. Yeah, we were actually. I've been wondering about some of what's been going on at the theater during rehearsals.
Oh, they've been going really well. The script Maze wrote is it's actually very very funny. There's a lot of good little jokes in there, and
You notice that she kind of like bounces up and down. It's so weird to see this like very youthful young girl energy, but then this super deep voice come out. And I even get to have a couple of jokes, which I haven't really mastered timing for them quite yet. But Ms. Delta says I'll get the hang of it. Just takes practice.
She's right. Maze has definitely improved himself in the time I've known him.
Oh yeah, he used to be fucking miserable at it.
Yeah. So, but it's been going really well. We've been practicing more or less every other day. Ms. Delta thinks it's important to make sure we have a breather day. Just, so we're not running ourselves ragged and can, especially for the more exerting parts of the dancing and things like that. I don't really have too many of those except for right at the very end when she kind of blushes when I get with the main actor. Yeah, I'm really scared about that.
Purity looks
Who's
over.
that
You're
gonna
gonna
be?"
be amazing. Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous of them. She just goes back to painting.
Is that gonna be Chadork?
No.
Oh, thank God.
There's a bit of a chuckle.
He's much too old. Very nice guy though. No. It's another young, newer actor.
Exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, their
That's
name's
good.
Levi.
Closer age and experience level will probably make that scene easier to play anyway.
Yeah,
Yes.
easier synergy.
Yeah, Ms. Delta thought it was important, and Matthias agreed, and I also very much agreed.
And she like goes back to looking down at her hands.
Sorry for kind of rambling there. I didn't.
I
No, we
enjoyed
came to talk to you.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed everything you've said.
Oh.
If anything, I'm sorry for distracting you from the show here, but it seems like you're doing okay keeping up with that.
Yeah. Thanks. It's not a big deal. It's nice to have a little side conversation with new folks.
And Pure looks over. Yeah, and besides, it gives me a chance at all.
Yeah.
Are you pulling ahead during this?
I'm taking every moment I got. She keeps going.
But
It's actually you mentioned her a couple times. It's actually Miss Delta that I was concerned about.
Is something wrong?
No, it's more. So she does a lot besides the theater, right? I think we've seen her at least once or twice playing piano at establishments around town. So she's, I guess, if she comes and goes and she's all over the place all the time. Is that about the size of it?
Yeah. Ms. Delta likes to participate at various establishments like, why am I forgetting the name of this in every single time?
Tiny
Kissed
Bucket?
by the Sea.
Kissed by the Sea, okay.
Goes with a Kiss by the Sea. Tiny Bucket is also really popular for her. And sometimes there's a couple of performance platforms just around the city. Maybe you've seen them, where various instrument players or singers, comedians, what have you, if they've got a spare moment, they're more than welcome to go there and show what they got.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
The reason I was concerned is it occurred to me in the time we've been here, there've been all these crazy happenstances of people getting attacked. There's been all this stuff going on at the docks, and I don't know if you've been present for any of them, but it occurred to me, we met Lucine recently, and she was fine when we saw her, but she's always in these public thoroughfares and such. She's never been a victim in any of these things, right? It seems in retrospect really kind of rude that we didn't even ask about it when we met her.
You notice that the more you start talking about like the attacks and things like that, she kind of withers.
No. Thankfully, Ms. Delta's been safe. There have been times where I've been concerned that she might be in danger. But just when I'm out trying to find her, she finds me and makes sure that I'm okay.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So
I'm sure she's so popular anybody would jump in front of her to take a bullet.
Right. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
I don't think there's too much risk of that. Okay. I'm glad that you have each other. Sorry, I heard a little of lips opening. Were you about to say something?
No, she's just like, the more she's thinking about it and people talking about, yeah, she might get shot, and it's just like, you get the feeling that her imagination is very active.
Mm-hmm.
And so, also being an ASMR, it really feeds into itself really badly. So she just kind of like shuts down for a moment. But as you start talking again, she does her best to smile.
How long have you known her?
Oh, only like a year or so.
Oh, wow.
I used to audition for a lot of different plays, and I
I got in a couple. Pure like leans over. Oh my gosh, she's being so humble. She was the lead in so many different performances for a while there. She was like, she's like the best child actor around here. And
and then, some things started to happen in my life, and I started molting, and it ruined my voice a little bit, so I started squeaking and cracking on songs, and
It changed it.
it took it. But Ms. Delta has been very helpful and pure, of course, too.
yeah, I've been there for you the whole time, buddy. And she just like gives a thumbs up.
To try with this new sound and this play. I think it might be an opportunity for me to. It sounds so narcissistic, but
Own it.
own it, and maybe people look at me the same as they used to. That
Or
would
better.
be nice, or better.
I get that. People in towns used to be very scared of me. I would hide face a lot, but trying to be more me now, so get it.
That
You're braver than me. I still hide my eyes, so.
when you guys are talking, and specifically Nash brings that up, she like sits up in her chair, and you get the feeling that it's like very encouraging for her, but she's also like, man, I'm an asshole. This guy, mine is just my voice,
He's a
Uh,
dog.
this guy, well,
This guy's a dog.
it's not that.
Dog.
That sounds so callous. It's more just like oh wow, I didn't even think about that, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that are really rude to him for no good reason. And she just nods.
You're really brave. I want to be more like you guys. So I'm trying.
Have you ever I guess if after these things she's always come to find you, that's really reassuring. You've never I guess it's never just happened while you guys are rehearsing or anything, right? It sounds like it's just been while you've been out and about.
She shakes her head.
I mean, I do remember there was the
She kind of like wiggles her hands, thinking.
when poor Madame Delotto was attacked.
Mhm.
We were in the middle of rehearsals, actually, but we didn't hear about it until much later, and I was sitting next to Ms. Delta the whole time.
Oh. Oh, okay, well that one must have been a little, I suppose, if you found out about it after the fact. It's good that she was there when you did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
Can I do a quick thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I detect magic?
Sure. Let's see here. You detect magic, and let's see here. No, you don't actually spot any magic. I mean, there's definitely some magic on Pride.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously
And some
on
on
all of you.
Victoria for her little gadgets.
Yeah, because you now that you know what Conrad's deal is, while it doesn't ping because that's not how illusion works, you do notice that she also has a nice ring that looks very similar to what Conrad had.
Oh my god, their engagement
They're
marriage ring!
Wow.
Great cover.
So for
That's
what
actually
it's-
really cute.
I assume this is what you're getting at, Red Path. I don't know whether, like, a modify memory kind of effect would
No.
leave a permanent any indication that it had happened. Because I
No,
don't
Red
remember
Path,
seeing anything like. Oh, go ahead.
Red Path is hoping that nobody is spying on them right now.
I mean, that wouldn't really get you there anyway. If someone's scrying you, they're scrying you.
No, spying on them by, like, you know, just being in, like, within 50 feet with invisibility on or something.
So
Or listening in.
One of the things that we've learned, and because we were just running it wrong, detect magic does not detect illusions that are of a higher level than detect magic, which is
Which is
literally
say all
anything.
of them. So if someone's invisible, they're invisible.
Yeah, I just didn't, because I wondered about that rule. I was like, man, you can just use detect magic to find invisible people? That's fucking crazy. And then reading
No.
the rules more, no.
I meant it more in the way of detecting if they have anything magical on them. Does that override it?
I would
I
assume
assume
so?
it would have to.
Because then
Alright.
otherwise, the wizard would be like, don't worry, I'll spy ahead and leave all of my gadgets here. It'll
That's
be
true.
fine.
That's true.
But a good thought.
Yeah. Was there anything else I could do for you guys?
Sorry, I'm eating at the same time.
I don't think so. Just wanted to come by and check in and make sure that make sure you were okay and she was okay and the production was going well.
Oh, I have something. I don't know. It's irrelevant to you guys. I have something. Is there like
Sure.
a support group for people like us here?
Purity. Not that I know of. Cracks a cold one. Marigold looks over.
I don't think so. That does sound really nice, though.
That sounds really nice. I'm pretty surprised that that's not like a thing. Is it? Who would you even go to for that? Like who? What do we have to resort to?
I don't know.
Purity stands up. I mean, I'd be happy to help you organize something. I never organized anything in my life, not even my room. But I'd be happy to like try. If it's anything for Marigold, like yeah, absolutely. I mean, you too, Red Path. Like well, all of it. I'm not trying to not include everyone. People that need help, I'm happy to help.
Nailed it, sis.
You got it. All right. Well, yeah, I'm sure we can find like something, or like we would you need like an organizer or somebody who like? Oh God, that would be so hard though.
I mean, there's definitely plenty of ASMR in the city.
And I'm sure we could probably, get the word out somehow. I mean, for gosh sake, we've got Pride here. I'm sure he could do something.
I would be happy to help. I don't know what that would be.
Arm up, mister.
You're not even.
Arm up. Puts his arm back up.
Do you
Yeah.
want a rest for that?
No, it's fine.
Give him a rest.
No, I'm macho. I'm manly. I don't need it.
You don't even think it's that. It's more of a defeatist. Just like this might as well happen. But yeah, I mean, you think about it, Marigold and Red Path. I don't want to push you guys into anything, but just know if you do want to do something, you have my brother and I's full support.
Yes, you do.
Thank you. It's appreciated. Who do you mostly talk to, like, when it gets really bad? Because I don't talk to anybody because I'm just learning about it.
Oh, Pure, I talk to a lot, and Ms. Delta's been really instrumental in helping me.
Oh, yeah. There have been plenty of times where Lucine has, like, cut off shows early in public just to, like, comfort Marigold here. Like, really upstanding stuff.
I see.
He's kind of thinking. He's got a pretty conflicted look on his face right now.
Par for the course for me. I thought I'd have more questions, but I don't.
Dia kind of slides the chair back into place. Yeah, I think I don't want to distract you too much longer from this, lest Pure get too far ahead. How's it going?
Yeah, let me roll for her again. Yeah, it's a little better than last you saw it.
It's one high.
Ooh, one exactly.
Like, how enthused
one
can you
little
really
bit
be
better.
about painting your brother?
Yeah, that's definitely taken a lot of the excitement out of it. And she's like, I mean, sure, whatever. The jacket's fun to paint, I guess. Whatever. And then I'll also roll for Marigold as she starts to get back into it.
You
She was
poisoned her
distracted.
brain.
God, we poisoned her.
She just looks back. Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, sometimes they don't all turn out great.
Yeah.
No, hang on. Don't worry. Don't worry. When Pure had an unfair advantage because we came to bother you, here, let me give you performance-enhancing drugs.
Yeah.
She's gonna cast heroism on her.
All right, that's a +2.
Performance enhancing magic.
Yeah.
It's a +2, yeah.
Yeah, it's a +2.
All right. Yes, it's
She's
better.
fixing it.
Yeah, and she looks up.
Thanks.
Gives a thumbs up.
Alright, so
Hey.
how's about this? How's about this? We should actually, like, make a plan for it so it doesn't just float away in the wind. What day of the week are we not busy? What's one of your off days?
Oh. I guess this week it'll, well, today is kind of an off. Well, no, I'm going there later today. Tomorrow I won't be performing.
Okay. And would it be better if it were probably an evening thing for people to sort of give people more time to think about it and show up?
Oh, are you talking about like a little malting meeting?
Oh, I don't know if I want to call it that, but yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's not a stellar name.
Yeah.
It's a descriptive one, but I
is,
think there's
it's-
probably something more uplifting we can find.
Mm-hmm.
Just stares blankly at the canvas.
It's a really weird subject. It's a really weird and touchy subject because as far as Redpath's aware, the only other ASMR he's known does not like talking about it at all. It's like a don't want to think about it, don't want to talk about it, it's bad kind of thing. So in his mind, as much as this is a thing that desperately need, or it sounds good in theory, he's realizing that maybe it's actually kind of like a not. Maybe there's a reason this sort of thing doesn't exist, because it kind of seems like the sort of thing that would have a feedback loop.
Yeah. There is a moment, Redpath, where she's like,
Oh, I forgot because you were nice enough to show me that time.
she pulls back her hair, and she
Got a
shows you
fucking icon for. Whoa.
Oh,
and
yeah, it's
she
going.
has a molted eye, and it's very much like just a halo. You do notice that her hands are these beautiful little sparkly, like almost space and stars. And
Oh, wow.
pure kind of like looks over. This has nothing to do with the molting, but Marigold also glows in the dark, which is really cool.
Oh, me too!
Really?
Yeah, just the freckles, though. And I don't know, I haven't checked the gold, but the freckles do. The eyes.
Can we? I want to see. And she like runs over and hits a light switch, and you see
Oh my god, she has one.
Whoa.
that Marigold just glows in the dark.
So many alternate options for this very minor character.
She's
Thank-
not
thank-
minor.
Thank Cat. She was like, look at all these cool ones. I'm like, great. I'll take her.
Oh, you know what? There's a certain kind of algae that glows like that. It's
Algae.
bioluminescent. Looks like the stars.
You like start talking about algae, and she's like, oh yeah, the gross stuff that gets stuck to boats.
It's not all gross. It's living things. It's little colonies of living things all working together. And when they glow, that's them trying to talk back and forth.
They're gross living things.
Like me. No, she doesn't do that. She perks up.
When you phrase it like that, that is nice.
Yeah.
Not being alone.
In fairness, and really your opinion's the only one that matters, whether you like it or you don't, but in my opinion, your eye is very distinctive, and I don't mean that in a, oh, what's a neutral word I can find to describe something that, like, wigs me out. No, I really like that.
Thank you. It's really nice of you guys.
All right.
Okay, so I guess I have to
Victoria-
make posters. No, you know what? Pure, you're an artist. You make posters.
On it, she just throws the easel aside and grabs another one and starts. And Fred's like, that's it! That's it!
Live pride reaction.
Meanwhile, Marigold's like,
I wasn't done.
Oh.
Real quick.
yeah.
I'm hoping I'm not placing a bad bet here, but I prepared one of these because I thought it might be necessary based on how things went. And I'm hoping we're not gonna, like, suddenly have a bunch of combats, but we'll see. I would like to use a spell that I just learned studying at ye old House Hersif the other night. I would like to cast Break Enchantment on Marigold to see if there's any outstanding memory modification that I can dispel.
Absolutely. Do you need to
I
think you need to
I
roll, like, a
do roll
caster?
for that, yeah.
Yeah. If you
So
wanna...
it's for each such effect. I make a caster level check, D20 plus caster level against a DC of 11 plus the caster level of the effect.
Sure.
And you don't have to tell me if there are any or not, but I'll roll one, and you can tell me whether to keep going or what.
Sure.
So here is caster level. Don't fuck me.
Okay. You cast the spell. I don't think anyone's really paying attention because, like, Pride and Pure are, like, getting into a small argument about
Yeah.
this bullshit. And you see the spell takes full effect. Nothing happens. Marigold seems exactly the same. She's, like, sighing because every time Pride, like, raises his arm to get angry, she's like, and, like, goes to paint, and then, he puts it back in his eyes, like, oh. Deflates again.
Oh.
Yep. Okay. That was always a possibility, but I figured I would check.
Yeah, no. I will say you feel very confident that it took hold, but doesn't seem like there was anything to break.
Yep.
I mean, just having the knowledge that there isn't anything is still knowledge gained. So
I don't know, it's just impossible to believe that someone was nice to her.
wow.
No, that's Pure.
Oh, Victoria, can I talk to you for a second about some painting stuff?
Oh, absolutely. What can I do for you?
Coolio, over here. I want to see you mentioned that you had like some other ones that were in
Oh.
the back or something?
Oh, yeah. Also,
The big
Coolio.
ones.
What a fun word. Is that what young people say?
I don't
Marigold.
know.
Pure,
I
do
don't
you
know
say
where that came from. I don't know where that came from.
Yes, let me add it to my vocabulary as well. It's so hip.
You better.
I won't.
Yes, absolutely. And so she just follows after you. Oh, if you'll all excuse me just a moment. Business is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Business.
Okay,
Have
which one is the one that you
Coolio
have
business.
the bigger paintings in?
Oh, straight ahead.
Okay.
Because this north door is for my little office, and the southern one, which is how everyone says it, is where we do more of our sculpting stuff. But yeah, so this is where we do some of the more like family portraits and things of the sort. And you notice that like she looks at this room and she just kind of like her eyes just glass over when she says family. Clearly, you don't realize this. Clearly thinking of like, hey, I'm your son, bada boopy.
Bada boopy.
That is how it happened.
And she shakes her head. But this is also where we have other like completed portraits, and she gestures to the walls, and you notice that there's a bunch that are actually, lack for a better term, like at Spencer's where they have that like wall of posters and you can kind of like flip through them like pages. Essentially that with some different portraits and designs and things of the sort.
Okay, I'm wondering, I need to get like canvases or something. I'm gonna get Maze to paint a picture of my mother, so that's important. But that's actually not why I want to talk to you. I lied. Hee hee.
Sure. Okay. Noticing like Maze is gonna paint my mother, and she's like,
sorry, girl. He doesn't know.
No, that's fine. And she keeps on like, big smile. I'm dying.
He can tell it's fake. I think he can tell it's fake, but he's gonna distract her anyway.
Yeah, and she will appreciate that.
So, I'm gonna need you to be candid because, I can tell she's not really gonna open up quickly. Do you know what the deal with Marigold is?
Oh, you mean like more in depth of... Right.
Yes.
So...
Probably have different music for this.
Yeah, I'm looking. That feels so intense, but like, we'll do that. She kind of puts her hands together. So, Marigold was fairly forward. She just didn't add all of the details.
Yeah, and I didn't feel comfortable just asking her, and I highly doubt anything's gonna come out of her tomorrow in a group of possibly more people. So
It's probably not my place to say, but considering you're both ASMR, you're probably one of the best people that could help her. Not that that's your responsibility, but in any case, she was a child actor and she was amazing. She stole every show. Shows ran longer because people wanted to see more of her. And there was an incident a few years ago where some family died. It was a nasty illness. There was nothing they could do, and it hit her very hard. And at first, it didn't really seem to do much, but she started to notice that her voice was cracking more, and so she'd go to these auditions or she'd do these shows, and it would crack on stage, and the people would laugh. And so it hit her very hard because... This might surprise you. Marigold was a very cocky person. And this humbled her far more than I would have liked. In any case, the molting kept feeding into itself because she tried to audition. She wouldn't be laughed at by the directors, obviously, because Matthias is a sweetheart. And so is Lucine Delta. But it was harder and harder to cast her because... well, it didn't work anymore. But Lucine decided to step up because she could tell that this was devastating to the girl and took her under her wing. Normally, Lucine would have a couple of people to teach at a time. This is one of the very few times that Lucine has had one student and leaned so heavily on them and kind of brings her everywhere, more or less, just to keep an eye on her, because Marigold's family situation is more or less non-existent at this point. She does have family, but...
Who were the ones who died?
It was her father, the one that had really gotten her into the acting. He was a producer, worked pretty closely with Matthias for a while. And it hit her hard.
Did they end up finding out what the illness was?
Shakes her head. I'm not too certain. Part of me, this is just speculation and rumor. It could have been poison. Because how can you not figure out what a disease is?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And Marigold's father was the sort that would boast and brag about his child, and there was a lot of speculation that he was pulling strings to keep putting her in the show, but maybe that was the case, but at least she was good, so it was fine. Like, that's getting into a whole other can of worms, but...
That's alright, that's an important can of worms. Was there anybody who was maybe a suspect for that kind of thing? Anybody with their own kid who was jealous enough to do it?
She shakes her head. Off the top of my head, and it's been a while now, I can't think of anyone that would be that vile. Oh, I want my kid to be on the stage. Die, Dad. Like, that's...
You'd be surprised.
Maybe I would be.
I see.
So, yeah. Thankfully, Pure has been there because they're both kind of outcasts. And because Marigold couldn't really be on stage anymore, Pure brought her to my studio, and, well, we've just been a little trifecta ever since.
What side of her family is the ASMR?
That would have been her father. So, normally I don't like to do this sort of gossip, but I think it's important.
I'm bad for doing this, but it is very important. And
no.
obviously, this isn't gossip for gossip's sake.
Right, exactly. And that's what I was getting to, is that this is important. And she looks over. I have been genuinely concerned about her for a while, but
Is it getting worse?
It's getting better. This is the best she's been in so long. But the problem is she kind of gestures back to the art room. We've kind of hit a wall. It's just not getting any better. And that unfortunately feeds back into her own mental state, which then makes it just kind of stay in limbo.
Has she ever mentioned anything out of place? Have you ever, has she mentioned anything else about it that you think might be a part of it, or?
No, I mean, the most common thing she talks about is how Pure and especially Lucine have been instrumental in comforting her and helping her get through it. So, take that for what you will.
Well, maybe it's a good thing then. If we can get more people involved in this, it's a good thing that she won't have to rely on just 2 people.
Yes, I think that'd be lovely. I certainly try, but I also don't want to push, because that's...
Oh, yeah, of course.
It's, I want to, but, like her hands are all over the place. So, yes.
Okay. Well, thank you for letting me know all that, then. And sorry for having to ask you in such a sneaky way.
No, I appreciate it, honestly. I genuinely do. Because if you can help her, I don't know what I can do, but I'd be so appreciative of it. And I know she would be too. But, she puts a finger up to her lips. Definitely be sneaky.
Well, if I'm gonna be honest, I have to say something bad right now. I might end up making it worse. But things always get worse before they get better, don't they?
They do. It's sort of our reward for powering through it.
I would like to buy 1 paint in every color.
Oh, 1 paint in every color.
Yeah, I'm told that I'm going to need a lot of colors.
Okay, well, I can't do 1 paint in every color, but I can get you every color of each paint. You know what I mean? Like,
Does
I can't
math?
Well, you said every...
You know what I meant, though.
I wanted to clarify, because if you wanted all of them, that would just be black. She, walks over and opens up this drawer, and you see that, it goes pretty far. Clearly some magic to do some, drawer of holding, and she pulls up, a bunch of different colors, and she comes back with, a dozen. Is this enough, or do you want even more?
Do you have any, bright neon-looking ones?
Ah, I'm on it.
Mhm.
Let's see here. And she pulls out more and and comes back over. Whoops, excuse me.
You vaguely remember what my mother looks like. You've heard of her.
Yep. Yeah, no,
Oh, boy.
yes.
You just keep picking fun keywords for this room, don't you?
Yes. So hopefully this would be enough then. I do recall that she was quite the kaleidoscope of colors.
Oh yeah, she was a real bitch.
That wasn't the word I used.
Wait, hang on. I'm just checking my wallet here to make sure I can. Yes, I can pay for these. Good.
Red-
Wonderful.
Laurent, she just pushes your hand back. Just make a painting of your mom.
Oh, I'm not doing it. It's a maze.
Right, you know what I mean.
Okay.
This is...
Oh yes, I can make dinner when we inevitably do show up at your house. That's how I
Oh!
pay you.
I would love that. Oh, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Oh,
Not-
did you
not today.
convince Connie?
Yeah.
That sounds like yes.
Wink.
Oh, that's enough for me. I'll take care of the rest. Oh, perfect.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Laurent. You walk out and you hear, like deflate.
Sorry, girl. You're not my problem.
You ain't my mama. Yeah, and you come back out and...
Who's your mama?
Who's your mama? But yeah. Is there anything else that happens here?
Can't imagine we'd get any further.
I think nothing else from Dia except snacking while everyone's distracted.
Sure.
I think Nash might have been like, I used to look like this, and then before that used to look like this. Rocky
Oh.
just died.
Cycling the different.
Oh my
heads.
He's
God!
cycling the little heads.
Red Path comes out and sees Rocky. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, Marigold just like does a little clap.
That's really cool.
Pure sees Hunky. Wow!
Whoa, I'm sorry, what was that one called?
Craig, not the other one.
Craig. Okay, that name could... like kind of wiggles her hand back and forth
Had
like...
to
eh.
think it quick.
Oh, that's not your fault. Don't worry. I don't know. It's fine. It's like kind of bats her hand.
That's fine. We went to the first time we were going undercover, well, really properly undercover, Maze and Redpath were paired up, and Maze used a pseudonym and Redpath didn't, and it got off on
Yeah.
about as good of a foot as it sounds like.
I'm still here. I did my job, which was to cook and lie, which I hated doing, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Pure looks over. I was like, that sounds rad. You guys are like doing little spy stuff.
Yeah, we have a very exciting and awful life.
Oh. Well, I hope it's getting better.
He holds up his fingers in like a little pinch motion, like a little bit.
Yeah, it has its ups and downs.
It's getting better all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. Was there anything else?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. So if that is the case, do we want to jump over to Maze and Conrad?
Yeah, let's fucking go.
Get it.
What music could I possibly...
The hypest place in all of Leviara. We're about to see it.
This is a fucking banger of a party going on.
Yeah, so let's get actual Lucine Delta's theme. And I will remove these folks. They don't need to be here. Okay. Moving icons to another map here. All right.
This is not where we went. I don't know
Oh,
why you
wait.
keep thinking it is.
I keep thinking you're going here. God damn it. Let me put you in your fucking house.
I hate you. Horrible players.
There we go.
All right. So here, I will ping.
That was a nice taster of her music, though.
Yeah. So, Conrad brings you to the second floor of his home. He is silent the entire walk.
Yeah,
Like-
I can imagine.
And he does not give you a tour of his home. He just goes upstairs, gets to the top of the stairs and goes, "Were you coming?" And then keeps going. And as you go through, you notice that he's got like a bunch of like model ships. It looks like he just makes little ships.
That's nice. Mace doesn't
He
comment
was
on that.
hiding in the canoes.
Mace
he was
doesn't comment
observing.
because, you know,
You've
small
gotta
talk's
have a
not what
hobby.
we're doing.
Yeah. And so you are brought into his office. There is no chair for you. He sits down.
Yeah, I registered that.
Mostly because I guess I just forgot to give him matching chairs, but I'm like, this is way funnier.
It is way funnier. Yeah, Mace just stands there. Alright then. So, I suppose you just want to get right to brass tacks. What should we know about the woods?
The Wandering Woods. Actually, if we're going to talk about that, I'll just use the Wandering Woods theme.
Hmm.
Or one of them. The Wandering Woods are obviously dangerous. I don't need to expand on that too much.
Right.
But you will need to be mindful of fairies, to be certain. They are very playful creatures. They don't normally mean anything dangerous by it, but their sense of humor has been twisted by years upon years of just being little gremlins. So, what they find rather amusing may not translate safely to you.
Hmm.
Let's see here. There are treants to be mindful of, though so long as you aren't damaging any of the trees, they should leave you alone. They're very passive creatures. Not to mention, this time of year, he pulls out a watch and looks at it. They should be in a more hibernative state. So, I wouldn't fret about them, but don't go just flinging swords around the forest.
We'll keep that in mind.
You will need to be very mindful of Knuckleavy. I have had the luxury of avoiding them, but they are exceedingly dangerous. To the point where if you make eye contact with them, it will drain your strength. And not even just a little bit. I mean, even enough where it could hamper me quite a bit.
Yeah.
And for you, skin and bones, that could be detrimental.
Maze doesn't feel like defending how he's not just skin and bones. He's not, but
I mean-
not worth bringing up.
I mean, you can if you really want to.
Nah, I'm good. Right. Is there anything else, I suppose, before I interject?
Let's see. There is a theater.
You did mention that before. Don't go
Yes.
anywhere near it.
Do not go near the theater. Theater is bad. I've never gone myself, for obvious reasons. One, I hate theater. And two, it's Fey theater, which I can only imagine is dangerous.
I mean, even if it's not dangerous, you probably just wouldn't get it. Like, I don't think anyone would.
Excellent save at the end.
Mm-hmm.
You get the feeling the moment like, I just don't think you'd get it. There's like a moment of like, I'll kill you. I don't give a shit. And you're like, I don't think anyone would. Fair enough. Like relaxes back in his chair.
Maze nods. He did mean the first half of that statement independently, but also the second half is still true.
You don't think I'm funny, then maybe humor's just not for you.
Blood Harvest is present, but not dangerous. Again, even if blood were to be spilled on it, the most that happens is it might reanimate it a bit, but doesn't do anything. Puts
you-
up a hand. Yes.
Did you have any particular method of keeping the fair folk away from you, or did they just leave you alone because of your energy?
I try to give off quite the vibe. So, my biggest suggestion with fairies, it's worked well for me. Don't be fun. Be boring. Do not laugh. Do not snicker. Do not answer their questions. Leave them be. Also,
I'm dead.
Yeah, no, Maze is thinking like Dia doesn't stand a fucking chance.
do not
Holy
give
Christ.
fey creatures your name. You can give them a fake one, but don't give them your real name.
Hang on, I gotta write these rules down. What was the first one?
Don't be funny.
Just put a faithful DNI tag on your Tumblr is the gist of it.
That's just living in Newfoundland, but
I should make it clear. If a fae were to get your name, some can be quite dangerous with it. They could forcibly manipulate you. They can be very dangerous in that regard. My main concern is then they actually know who you are, and that gets really annoying, because then they go, come on, Connie, come on, Connie. It gets old very quickly.
Did
You
you?
can thank my wife for that.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I love her, but she knew better.
That's unfortunate.
Yes. There is one other big thing to be mindful of in those woods. I don't know if you've ever encountered or heard of it. There's this thing called a hangman tree. They're a vital part of Meredith Redwood's studies. Though, wait, you've met one, haven't you?
let's get the reprise!
Run it back, God! It's like going against like
We're
a
going
Dark
home,
Souls
baby!
god,
Yeah.
The Dark Souls Capra demon.
Yeah, maybe.
No, you know what this is? This is like when you're fighting the final boss, and the final boss is the name of the game.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, Maze nods. It's been a while since we've had to deal with a hostile one, but yes, we have had to deal with them in the past.
Alright, well, try to avoid them. They look like weeping willows.
Yeah,
This
we
is the best.
we
yeah.
know the damage they can do, so I don't think we'd be going toward. Thanks again, Dia.
She wasn't there. She wasn't fucking there.
This might sound crazy. It might not be a terrible idea to bring a mask of some sort. Just because those trees do release spores and they can manipulate your senses in some regard. I know you're an undead, but they can impact us as well.
Oh,
which
believe
you
me,
probably
I know.
Yes, because because you traveled the world. Good job.
You really don't have to belittle it so much.
I will. In any
Fine.
case, the last thing to be mindful of is the Weaver. There is a cabin in those woods. It moves. That belongs to the Weaver, a witch that has been there for quite some time. I do not know if they are trustworthy or not. I have chosen to not engage because God only knows. However, what might interest you is the Weaver and Blackthorn did work together. So, if you are interested in that alliance, there is that possibility, though who knows what 400 years has done to the individual.
Yeah, bro, 400 years? You still alive?
I'll be sure to mention it at least. Do you have any idea why the woods are like this? Is there like a Fey portal there or something?
He leans back in his chair and kind of futzes around with a boat that was on his table. Just a little one.
If I had to guess, there likely is some sort of portal to the Feywilds, and it seems to be bleeding through in some capacity, though it doesn't grow any further, which makes me think, he points the boat at you, that there's a very real possibility that there is a powerful Fey in there who was ousted from the Feywilds and decided to make their own court. It's not unheard of, but it is rare, especially in a different plane of existence. That being said, he sets the boat down. It could very well be the Weaver themselves.
It's just conjecture at this point, I suppose, but
It is.
we'll keep it in mind. Any other sage wisdom?
Oh. You probably shouldn't eat anything there. He puts a hand up. I know we drink tea. And no, my very sage wisdom isn't the backhanded remark of, but I'm drinking it. My sage wisdom is, there is some vegetation that's bled through that is very much from the Feywild. Some of it can be beneficial. I've heard of some berries being rather good, actually. But there are some pieces of vegetation that are not blood harvest that could be very dangerous. I'm talking borderline wild magic.
Oh no.
But again, shrugs could be useful.
I'll keep that in mind. May's just thinking of all the ways. It's like, how on earth do you stop Dia from doing anything? Just...
Yeah. So I'll let you know right now, because Conrad is a wealth of knowledge for the or for the Wandering Woods. Don't be surprised if I randomly ask for will saves, which is your own inhibitions, like preventing you from doing dumb shit in the Wandering Woods. That's not me to be like, I want to show you all the cool shit. It's literally the longer you're in the Wandering the Woods, the more you're just like, hey man, fuck it, let's just get crazy. Which Conrad adds on, I would recommend moving through the Wandering Woods as quickly as possible, or finding shelter and maybe even having what I would describe. And he pulls out this like little locket and then sets it on the table and pops it open, and you see inside is a little painting of Victoria and him.
What I call an anchor. Something that locks you down in remembering what your mission is. Better yet, make it cold iron if you can.
And he puts it back on and puts it under his shirt.
That is very good advice. I'm sure the cold iron compass will be of some use in that regard, but having backups is not a bad idea.
The cold iron compass's main use will be to avoid fairies and or pixies manipulating your senses of the road.
True, but it does also in some way represent what we're doing there.
This is true. So, if you plan on all huddling around it for the entire trip, you'll be fine. Should be. It's not a guarantee, but it does help. Anything else, Maze Myers?
That's about all that was worth talking about that. I suppose I do want to move on to the other point, though. So about that murder you committed.
Yes. Yes, I did do that.
Did I do that?
Oh, me?
I must admit, you've really confused me on that one. You seem to have the good sense to only signal to me that you wanted to talk about that, and then spilled the beans to everyone anyway.
I needed you to trust me. What, do you think it would have been wiser for me to withhold that information for as long as possible?
It certainly would have helped.
I'm very confused in what you want from me.
He's like, leans back in his chair.
Here, I'll try and make it clear to you. I really would prefer that you manage to get out of this all right. And just being that forthcoming with information that one of the people whom we're working with would have an extreme vendetta against you due to familial murder, that does put a wrinkle in things, if I'm being honest.
It certainly does. Gladiolus was one hell of an investigator, and he had had some suspicions for a while that there might be, maybe not vampires specifically, but undead presence, or even werewolves, things of the sort. And so he started to do some digging. I don't know how, but he pulled me aside and told me that he had some evidence against me to prove that I was indeed a vampire. I was obviously concerned, and I asked him what he would do with said information. And he planned on bringing it to Pride, Oleander, everyone. But he made a small consolation, an offer. That we leave immediately, Victoria and I, after I would give the position of Lawmaster to him. I thought this was a ludicrous request, and I did not like the idea of a power-hungry Hersif getting there, especially the one, he stands up, who is a brown-noser to his father, Oleander, who cannot be trusted with that level of authority. Now, I will answer that question in chat. The Lawmaster position is an elected position, but if I were to retire early for unforeseen circumstances, I can make a very compelling argument as to why they should vote for him, and it would have been a landslide. Not to mention, people adored Gladiolus. How could they not? He was also dating the Siren of Leviara. Man was king of Leviara at the time. Just didn't have the crown yet.
I see. So that makes his murder justified, then?
No, absolutely not. Like I said, I refused. And, well, things escalated from there. He drew his blade and enchanted it with fire, and I needed to defend myself. He may have drawn his weapon first, but I did shoot first. I wasn't going to risk it.
That makes sense.
He opens up his jacket a bit to show the revolver.
I shot him 4 times in the chest. He got me 1 time with a good swing, not enough to put me down. Before I could deliver the 5th blow, I was going for the head this time. He used Dimension Door. I had no idea where he went. It wasn't until the next morning I realized
He, walks up to the window.
he had been trying to make his way to the docks. He couldn't teleport all the way back to the Hersif estate, so he bled out there. And so instead,
Looks over his shoulder.
blamed it on pirates and a mugging. Oleander was not content with this answer. He's a smart man. The shots were done too close. Why for a mugging against one of the heirs of the Hersif family? The one that was the heir to specifically the Horde, being the head of the Hersif family. What pirate would have the balls to shoot him 4 times just for some gold?
None of them, I would wager.
Correct.
People in chat wondering, no. Gladiolus did not die in the fire. He caused the fire.
Yeah.
Gladiolus has been A-okay. This fire happened a long, long time ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good thing you said that. I had that mixed up as well,
Yeah.
Yes.
actually.
Gladiolus caused the fire, which resulted in Rosa getting burned and the mom being killed. This was a thing of, because Rosa had gotten burned so bad, Gladiolus kind of changed his tune pretty especially and also limited his magical use, which pissed off Oleander because he was like, this kid was going to be something huge. He was going to be the next best wizard, and now he's just a magus that only uses swordsmanship. What a waste. And so things have progressed from there. And Oleander has been for a while mentioning that my boy was murdered in cold blood.
Ah, yeah.
But no one looked into it any further, and that's fine. That's very reasonable. It's like, why? But yeah, so it's cropping up now. No, so it's people in chat. Yeah. The fire was like when Rosa was probably God, 10 years old, at least.
Mhm.
So that was a long, long time ago. And Gladiolus only died 3 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so. Yeah, a lot of timeline bullshit going on.
And so, you can understand my hesitation. If Oleander were to learn, well, he'd burn it all, just to get to me.
And that does seem like what he would do, yes. Seems like he was rather fond of that particular child.
He was the favorite. He, believe it or not, does care for most of the children, most specifically Amaranth. But Gladiolus was the same as him. Power hungry, but the difference was,
Looks over his shoulder.
Gladiolus had a silver tongue and charisma to hide it. Which is why even his siblings loved him, looked up to him. Even when he burns a family member, they cannot fully blame him, because at least he tried, unlike the father.
Well, that's illuminating at least. But that doesn't really
Imagine
stop
so.
the grander issue. What are we going to do about that? You did tell everyone, and surely one of them is going to want to bring it up. I would want to bring it up personally, but believe it or not, I do still have that vested interest in your life not being completely fucked by our presence here.
Obviously, I would prefer if the information did not get out, because this is yet again more information that if it were released, Leviara would crumble overnight. So, I would prefer it be kept between us. Again, the main reason I even said it was because I've done a lot of harm to Leviara because of this passiveness that was thrust upon me. I could have fought back, but I chose not to. I want to make it clear to you, Mr. Myers. I want this city to live. I want this city to strive. I'm done hurting it.
Understood. I was wondering what kind of man you were. You were making it sort of hard for me to figure out, if I'm being honest.
Good.
While we're talking, though, when did you become a man of honor?
There it is!
He freezes and
You,
looks.
the moral victory is yours.
There is a moment where he like reaches for his gun.
4 to the chest.
You may know about Gladiolus, but no one can know about the laugh. I would like to think I have been an honorable man since the beginning. It just depends on who you talk to. The Veritas Legion would disagree implicitly that I was ever honorable to them. But you ask the Ebon Ward, they might think I was rather useful. Whatever happened to them? I did have a question myself, Mr. Myers.
Sure, while we're talking.
Mama.
The other night, you were speaking with my wife, Victoria. She seemed rather shaken up. Couldn't figure out why. She's a sweet woman. The only sunshine I had for quite some time. So I am curious.
Turns back to look at you.
What did you talk about that evening?
Suppose you didn't buy what I told you back then?
No.
Well, then I'll be honest with you, Conrad. I talked to her about myself.
And?
And it seemed to strike a chord with her.
Did it now?
It did.
He, like, reaches out and lightly grabs a hair.
Blonde. Very similar to his.
Are you done touching my hair?
Let's go.
So confirm for me. Was your name once upon a time Lucian? Or is that something you weren't aware of until she told you?
I would say I was never named Lucian.
He just kind of looks at you for a long, long while.
There's a few people I've been, Conrad. I was Reaver for a bit. But overall, I've always been Maze Myers.
Then we agree that Lucian died in that fire.
Don't think there ever was a Lucian, to be honest.
Best answer I could have heard. I'll leave it at this, Maze Myers. We can't really have a quarrel with one another. I'm even ignoring the current circumstances regarding Emmett and Leviara. Too much time has passed. You were a babe in a cradle I tried to kill with a knife. And I assumed you were dead. We both got lucky, escaping the fire. So how about we just enjoy our lives then?
Sounds good to me.
But do be kind to Victoria.
Now he's left me alone to snoop through all of his belongings. Ha-ha!
Yeah, he did the
Break my
evil,
stepdad's boats!
the evil thing of I need to be the one to leave the room. Shit, this is my house.
Yeah, Maze slowly follows in his stead. I wouldn't bother her, not one bit.
Yeah. As you're walking, you notice that there are these bizarre shades that are walking up, and you notice... Give me a perception check.
Okay.
Yeah, the fucking shadow creatures. We've all seen the shadow creatures.
Ooh.
Maze.
Ooh.
It's so hard at first looking at them. But as you pass by, your keen eye, despite this weird wispy shadow moving back and forth, you realize every single one of these, while they're all dressed different, carrying different weapons, standing a little differently, some have good posture, some don't, they all have the same facial structure as Conrad Rivaldi. But, because of a natural 20, you see them shift to a completely different man. And then, as you walk by, they fade away.
Are you done gawking?
You know, my friends weren't very impressed by that, but I think it's quite
Yeah,
interesting.
the shadows. We've all seen.
They weren't impressed.
No, they assumed you were trying to scare them, and it didn't really work.
Past lives have a mind of their own sometimes.
Huh. Fascinating.
Nice thematic boss fight ads you gave him. I appreciate it.
I hope we never have to see them.
Oh boy. We're getting close to...
Yeah, I think that's our business. What'll happen next time on Ebon Ward?
Yeah, I wasn't sure how much we'd get done today. A lot of planning, which is A-okay.
No, I think this is a good place because I wouldn't know exactly what to do next. I think having a little bit of time to, now that we got all that information, I think we'll be able to come back next time with a very clear, like, these are the 3 things we want to do before we whatever.
I gotta go have dinner with my dad.
You do need to have dinner with your dad.
The shrimp will spoil.
He's just sitting in this house. He's just running late.
He'll be here.
You ever been stood up for a dinner with your own son?
Here's a knock at the door. That must be him. Here are your bills.
Oh, he's so sad.
Oh, goodness.
Here's a knock at the door. It's me. I don't even know who you are, but I'm gonna blow up your head.
Mind crush.
Mind crush.
Boom. Oh, is that shrimp?
Steals the shrimp.
Well, what will happen next time on Ebon Ward, indeed. Hey, we have a Patreon. You should consider supporting us there if you haven't already. The money that goes there helps support games like this. All of the custom artwork you see is funded via the Patreon. So, you know, if you like what we do, throw us a couple bucks. It helps us keep doing it.
If you like what we do and you want to be in on it and you want to hang out and chitty chat and do fan art like is going to be shown on screen in just a minute, come on over to our Discord.
You should join our Discord if you haven't already. All of those things that were said are things that are true about it.
Yeah, there's also a lot of cool stuff on the Patreon, like icons and stuff like that. I think there should be a new big batch of like Ebon Ward stuff going up soon. Yeah?
Yes, I neglected to do that last time, but yes, I will do that soon. There was also some monthly generics that went up, and I don't know what we'll be doing for this month. What can we vaguely tie into the Christmas season? Hard to say.
I was thinking gnomes.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look out for that, Chad. If you want some gnomes, get in on the Patreon.
Smash that like button.
Smash that.
I made the gnomes, didn't I?
You did make the gnomes.
I made the gnomes.
You made the gnomes.
We've seen a couple of them.
Anyway, do we have an Imgur for the fan art that we're gonna go through?
We do. Let me track that down super duper quick. I got hiccups. Is this from?
Me too.
This is from Bread Bunny. It's from Bread Bunny.
Wow,
Thanks, Bread Bunny.
Nice. You should. Thank you very much for grabbing that well, and thank you, Bread Bunny, for making this Imgur. It really streamlines this process, so we always appreciate it.
Here we go.
That's better. All right.
That's better.
Ebon Ward, episode 132. There's nothing inherently tense about some stepfather-stepson bonding time. I agree. So the top of the pile from South American Koipo.
Nice chair. Make this so nice.
It's the screaming cat, but from a different angle.
Jesus Christ.
That's really grand. Thank you.
Oh my god.
Thank you so much for that. And from Skipped. Redpath, do you support gay rights?
I'm bi.
He's dodging the question.
They're jumping in.
Very
the
funny.
Motion blur.
Very
Great
good.
expression.
Thank you,
Nash's
Skip.
face in the bottom one too.
Then from An Eat No Bananas. Speaking of women we're ignoring.
Oh, shit, girlfriend!
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Meredith Redwood, we all know this.
I also from An Eat No Bananas. Very nice. Then from Damn You.
Well, can't unhear this shit.
Yeah, right?
Boy, yeah, Amaranth got like the fucking spark notes of all the crazy bullshit.
And
Like,
not even all of it. All we said was we went to the abyss. We did not say we became dinosaurs while we were there.
that sure
We
happened.
didn't even bring up the dinosaurs.
I can blame you.
God.
Then from Skift, I know what you are. It's true. Thank you, Skip.
So funny.
Then from No Bananas.
To that, I say nuts to thee.
What's going on?
I love everybody drawing Humphrey in these next to her. It's very cute.
Thank you
It's
very much.
wonderful. Thank you so much.
Then from Mir, huh? What?
Huh?
Huh?
What is happening?
Huh?
I can't keep up. There's so much happening. I'm sorry. There's 3 women that all have M's for names, and they're all the good doctor.
Yeah, keep up.
Don't forget a fourth M name that's kind of ambiguously the midpoint between all of them that they interchangeably use as a pseudonym.
What? That was never brought up before.
Thank you very much. Then from South American Coipo.
That's a lot of juicy plot happening here. I wish I knew how to read lips.
Betsy, too.
Yeah, the Betsy.
Oh, I love this one.
Thank you very much.
Aw.
And from Lemieux, friends.
Friends.
Friends. Humphrey is happy to be here.
Very
Warm.
cute. Then from South American Coipo.
Ah.
It was actually just cigarettes.
Ah.
Yeah.
Well, they have support groups for that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
Lovely.
Then from Bananas.
Kid, have some heroinism.
Maybe just a little.
Thank you very much.
That really is it.
Outstanding. Thank you so much.
Let's see, then from Box of Bees.
It's been so long since last he's seen his son.
Ugh.
I love
Fucking cop that.
like the fucking tie and cop hat. So funny.
Little bat wings also.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much.
And then from
Aw.
Bananas, they glow in the
brights!
dark.
They're
Light bright.
light
You're
brights!
so right. They are light brights.
Oh,
Yay!
So cute. Well, is that all? Is that all she wrote? It looks
I think that's all she
like
wrote
it.
today.
Well, thanks everyone for submitting that, and Will,
Hey.
thank you for running this. This was an absolute pleasure.
Hey, thanks for playing, y'all.
Yeah.
You guys made this awesome, as you do. And chat, thank you all so much for being here, supporting the show, however you do it, be it by giving fan art, or giving money, or just being here at all. Your support, however you give it, means the absolute world to us. Thank you for being here this time, and thank you for being here next time. Say goodbye to chat, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Toodles.